Let's bring the April 7th Bristol Borough School Board meeting to order. Please rise to salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Mr. Cullen.
Here.
Ms. Curran. Here. Mr. D'Angelo.
Here.
Ms. Paglione. Here. Mr. Poliafico.
Here.
Mr. Parolo.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Poplawski.
Here.
And Mr. Chicoletti.
Here. Okay, reports and presentations. I'm going to need to approve the agenda with addendums and tabled items. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. D'Angelo, do I have a second?
Second.
Is that Mr. Cullen?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays, abstentions, motion carries. Okay, reports and presentations. Dr. Schaefer.
Yes, I'd like to acknowledge and commend Mrs. LaFreda for running an outstanding trip to Europe with our students. For those of you who don't know, Mrs. LaFreda is our Italian teacher at the high school. The amount of work that she put into planning and the execution of this trip was overwhelming. This is something she volunteered to do, and it's not part of her duties. I just want to say that we're very fortunate to have such dedicated teachers who go above and beyond for our students. I'd also be remiss if I did not congratulate and recognize our students for their outstanding behavior. Believe me, they could not have done a better job representing Bristol High School in Europe. Last evening, we had our National Honor Society dinner and induction, and I would like to congratulate all the juniors who were inducted into the National Honor Society last evening. We had 22 students who were inducted, which is very impressive. I just want to say I've received several concerns regarding the playground here at the elementary school. After speaking with Mrs. Rosado, we're going to look into developing a plan to upgrade and expand the current playground. I'll be working with Mrs. Rosado on this plan. Until this becomes a reality, we've ordered new swings and equipment for the current playground. So we'll be looking for some input on that as time goes on. Just a reminder that next week is spring break. Wednesday, April 13th, will be an asynchronous day. The district will be closed on Thursday, April 14th through Monday, April 18th, and school reopens on Tuesday, April the 19th. We begin the PSSA testing on Monday, April 25th, and between PSSAs and Keystones, we continue various testing through May 27th, in accordance with the state guidelines. Also on the agenda, under reports, you'll see Title I, Title II, and Title IV. These are titles which we receive our federal funding. Reporting on federal funding at each board meeting is a new mandate from the Department of Education. Ms. Rosado will give a short report on federal programs at each meeting. And that's all that I have.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Schaefer. Ms. Rosado?
Thank you. Well, let me start, because I see a lot of parents are here, by apologizing for spamming your phones with all the text messages and robocalls, but we received another beautiful, large food supply of fresh food as well as shelved items from the Bucks County Opportunity Council, and so I wanted to make sure everybody was able to come and get some, so sorry about that. In terms of our federal programs, we are being monitored tomorrow. We've been working, Ms. Gesualdi has, my guardian angel over there, has helped in preparing for an audit. It's monitoring. So it's tomorrow via Zoom at 9 a.m. And I feel like we're going to do a great job. We have preliminary information that we will do a really great job. It's a lot of work leading up to it to ensure that we're in compliance is basically what it is. So our Title I program funds our 2 reading specialists and our 1 math specialist for part of the day. We're a school-wide program, so students receiving small group Title I instruction could be in literacy and math, and it's fluid. So data are analyzed often, and there are several data points that are analyzed to determine who receives those services. Title II monies are used for class size reduction. Currently, we have 5 first-grade classes, and if you've been in the district for any number of years, every other grade level has just 4 teachers per grade level. We've used our class size reduction money to make that 5th grade the fifth first grade class to reduce class size. Currently in first grade, we probably have an average of 17 students per class, and in one particular class, it's fewer, about 11. And so that's very helpful in providing individual and small group instruction. Title IV money is for well-rounded education. Allocations are given to our PBIS program, which is our school-wide positive behavior and incentive system, gifted and enrichment, 2/3 of our outrageous program, which we had another beautiful performance yesterday for quarter 3, and our Microsoft Office certification program at the high school. I provided the school board with the results of our parent survey. We're required to evaluate our federal programs each year, and evaluating them comes from your input. And so several questions were asked pertaining to Title I, Title II, Title IV, and you can see overwhelming, a lot of great input and satisfaction. However, there was input in how do we improve, because that was also asked. So in our next parent meeting at the end of the month, I encourage all of you to attend, so that way we can discuss how we're going to plan for next year and use our monies, okay? So it's important that you're there to do that. The questions were asked about our outrageous program, and right now that's only serving grades 1 and 2, and we hope to grow that, but there's been overwhelming support, and that's been just an awesome addition to our school. PBIS and funding that with our incentives. Tomorrow, ironically, we're having our third quarter incentive, which is an ice cream party for those students who qualify. Everybody has been super satisfied with our gifted and enrichment program. And there were a couple other just questions about, do you help your children at home with their homework, and do you read to your child? So a similar survey will be given at the end of the school year, and I hope, we had 70 participants, so I'd hope that we get a little more input from you, and please attend that meeting. It'll be posted on our Facebook pages later on in the month. It's just called our parent meeting, and I'll send out a robocall, so be prepared. Let's see here. So I wanted to make an announcement that our State Parent Advisory Council, otherwise known as SPAC, is not hosting the summer parent conference this year. We'll be discussing again our school-wide plans for these areas at our next parent meeting. And we will also be forming a playground committee to again discuss how we can improve and expand our playground. So as you can see, I feel like the playground's a little small for a school of this size. There's over 700 children, and they all can't be on it at one time. It becomes a lot of collisions. And so we do have the space out there to expand. And I believe there's some money left over from, 2009, when the committee was here, or the, what was that group called? Kaboom.
Kaboom, yeah.
Yeah, when they were here, and they did the playground with us, and we collaborated. So a few things that you can get involved in, and I really look forward to you being there. But another portion of Title I funds professional development for our teachers and staff, and I'm excited to say that beginning on Wednesday, April 13th, it's actually 7 to 8 p.m. at night, but the staff has agreed to attend professional development through Patton. They provide a lot of PDs for the area. This year, or this session, is actually 10 sessions on structured literacy interventions. Each chapter is devoted to a specific content or area of literacy where children often have difficulties. And so the way this is divided out, of the 10 sessions, we have a grade level teacher attending each one, and then we will collaborate and kind of share out and work together as K-6 teams in presenting the content to the entire staff. And each staff member will get a copy of the book as well, and we do have those already. It's very important right now, as we were seeing with COVID, a lot of learning loss, and just some of our children and their difficulties have kind of been compounded by not being in school and the virtual element and so on. So that's really important. And just a couple other announcements. Oh, the other survey, I'm sorry. So Wednesday I emailed another Google Form survey, and this one was on social and emotional issues, which is extremely important right now as we're kind of all back from COVID and kids spent so much time away from school, isolated. And so there were a few questions, which is just the very, very beginning of an effort that we want to put forth in applying for a grant through the county, which we've already been collaborating. It's called Family First with Children and Youth and the Department of Human Services, and forming a task force with your help to bring more services to our community. And you can see on the survey, we had in just a short time 153 responses, and I did offer a little incentive, and I turned the survey off after 153. But you can see the good percentage in the areas where our families feel like resources are needed, okay? And, you know, food, housing, mental health, behavioral health, individual counseling. Some ask for employment support. And our hope is to use the school as a hub to bring folks to provide you with services here in the building in the evening. And so that transportation is not an issue for anyone. And so that's where we're hoping to work from now and through the summer, so that next school year, we have folks here who can walk us through resources when it's difficult to find them, when you hear there are long waiting lines and lists and navigating the state systems, which is never an easy task. What was that? I think that was all for that one. And then we are back. The girls' spring fling is on Friday, April 22nd from 6 to 8. If there are any families in here who did not complete the Google form, I'm really into those lately, please do and sign up by April 15th. That's just so we know how many children and families to expect. We will be taking pictures. I'll send home those forms prior to the dance. And we anticipate it to be a great evening. One of our former graduates of the high school is DJing, Curtis Perry. So I'll be meeting with him to go over some music. So if there are any kids here who'd like to have input on the music, come and see me. Otherwise, you might be doing the electric slide. And then finally, on the 29th of the month, we are hosting our first gift card bingo, and it's cheap, super cheap. Come out for some fun. 10 games for $10. You're never going to get a price like that. The prizes will be various gift cards. There'll be raffles. There'll be a 50-50. No alcohol, but you can bring your own snacks. And what the proceeds will go towards the end of the year 6th grade trip. At this point, we are looking at Dorney Park. So very slowly, we're getting some of the favorite activities back into our mix, and we're happy about that. So. And this is not a double-sided page, so that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rosado. Mr. Nastasi.
Yes, I would like to tag on what Dr. Schaefer said. Last night we had our National Honor Society night. We inducted 22 juniors. We had 18 seniors. Some of our seniors are walking away with 25 college credits through Bucks County Community College. An example of some of the schools that our seniors are going to, Ursinus, Alabama, Tennessee, Villanova, Pre-Law, and we have a few, Kutztown, Millersville, and we have one student going to Penn State, Maine, for pre-med. So those 18 seniors averaged about 13 college credits they're walking away with, which if you've noticed, is recently college costs are extremely expensive. So some of the students are walking away with almost an entire year of paid college tuition, which is amazing. We've had a prom donation in collaboration with the Grundy Library, our teachers, and our community. There's probably over 200 dresses, 10, 12 suits, 2 tables of accessories. Wednesday during school we had a fashion show. Some of our students were our models. The prom, I've been called the prom galley, has been doing fairly well. It's really being used by our students. We are going to open it up to the public on the 9th, April 9th, from 11 to 2, to any other schools in the area that could use anything for the prom just so we can get good use of what's there. There were a ton of new items there, some lightly used. It was a wonderful event Wednesday. Our pantry's doing pretty well at the high school. We can always use some non-perishable items. I also want to say our spring sports are starting this year, starting now. I want to say good luck to our track team, baseball, softball, junior high baseball, junior high softball, and our United track team, which got rained out today, and hopefully we get that rescheduled. The one thing I am proud about is our numbers in general have increased by 20 to 30% for each sport, especially in the junior high. We have a number of athletes coming out to participate, and also including is our junior high track team. Scheduling for next year for the students is underway. Also, scheduling for our dual enrollment program through the Bucks County Community College has started. Students who do qualify, our juniors next year will take psychology in the fall. Our seniors will take college writing in the fall. In the spring, our juniors are going to take sociology, and our seniors are going to take public speaking in the spring. As Dr. Schaefer said, we're getting ready for the PSSAs at the end of April and our Keystone exams in the beginning of May. Also, I have a couple announcements. Basketball workouts have started this week. They are Monday and Wednesday, 6:30 to 8 with Coach Devine. Football workouts in the weight room are Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 to 4:30. And our junior high third quarter incentive for good behavior for this quarter. All of our junior high qualifiers are going to be going bowling next week, which we are super proud of. That's it.
Thank you, Mr.
I have a question.
Nastasi. Go ahead.
Nick, so these seniors that last night, it was really impressive. They amassed these credits. Was it, when can they start taking these courses? As a junior?
So some of them can take the Microsoft class as a sophomore.
All right.
With Tuesday and Thursdays, we will bus the students over to Bucks County Community College. We also have classes that are embedded in our schedule that our teachers teach, that are college accredited, but then we also have classes from 7 in the morning to 7:50 in the morning before school starts that they also qualify for classes.
Thank you. Yeah, because, you know, just so everyone knows, is those young men and women last night, those seniors, most of them had 20, the ones I heard, and so a college credit is $1,000. It varies, maybe 900 to 1,200. But so every one of those kids basically saved their parents or saved themselves of getting into debt for a full semester, which is anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000. So we encourage everyone, you know, if you have kids, and just reach out to Mr. Nastasi as far as the details of it. But it's something that's really worth it, and they don't have to do anything, no cost, just attend the class, right?
So just to give you a quick example, our one student who's going to Villanova for pre-law, she's walking away with 25 credits, and Villanova's $78,000 per year. So, and
Half a year, yeah.
And 65,000 of that is educational, and the other 12 is room and board. So,
Right, and I just might like to add something else. What's unique about Bristol Borough is all these credits are free to our students, because as the Board of Education directed me many years ago, we pick up the fees for those classes, which is really nice.
And can I also, I want to say something too. I attended it too. I don't know if Dr. Schaefer, you know, or Nick. I mean, that was a high number, 22 students. I mean, is that one of the higher,
Gotta be.
you know,
It is.
class of
Yes.
number? You know, I remember it always being a little smaller.
Yes,
You know,
it is one of the
you know,
highest.
it was a nice number, 22 students. It was well attended and very nice.
You have a question about that?
Well, I have a question. So, all the preparation, is that only for high school students or for
Go ahead.
middle school students or lower than that?
Dr.
My
Schaefer?
I'm sorry.
son is in middle school, so I was wondering if he can join the program to, you know,
For the college credits,
yeah,
you have to be in high school for that.
so it's only for high school.
It's only for high school, yeah. Yeah, because they are college credits.
So Dr.
And
Schaefer,
they're,
when,
and what we have,
Middle school, nothing.
because what we have to do is, in order for the state to recognize those credits, we have to adopt a curriculum from a college. So college level, they won't be able to do it at the lower levels, you know what I mean?
So that's only for high school students?
It's for high school, yeah.
Okay, got
Okay?
it. Thank you.
okay, so I'm going to ask for public participation on agenda items only. I know a lot of you are here for the Wildcats. Let me get through the agenda, our business, and then we'll hear, we'll hear your comments, okay? So let me just zip through all of this. Is that okay? Okay, so let's get to new business.
Okay, Mr. President, item A, I motion that we approve the appointment of Hill Wallach LLP as district solicitor for the 2022-2023 school year.
Do I have a second?
Second?
That's Mr. Cohen. So do we need a roll call on that?
Yeah, you might as well do it for that. That's legal.
We need a roll call on that? Go ahead. Just to be safe.
Mr. Cullen?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Paglione?
Yes.
Mr. Poliakico?
Yes.
Mr. Parolo?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Poplawski?
Yes.
Mr. Chicoletti?
Yes, so congratulations, Mr. Truelove.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We really enjoy working with the board, the administration, the community. It's a great opportunity to do a lot of good things, and I think everybody here is very dedicated to the district, and we really enjoyed the opportunity again to be part of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Truelove. Okay, item B.
Item B, Mr. President, I motion we approve the Berkheimer Tax Administrator to continue collecting the occupational privilege tax.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Mr. Cullen, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays, abstention, motion carries. Item C.
Item C, Mr. President, I motion that we approve the following depositories for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. They would be Penn Community Bank, PSD LAF, and the William Penn Bank.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Mr. Cullen, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays, abstentions. Item D.
Item D, motion that we approve the following medical personnel for the 2022-2023 school year. Paul Raven, DDS, school dentist, 525. James Daniel, DDS, school dentist, 300. John Pickard, DO, school physician, $10 each for athletic examinations.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Mr. Cullen, questions?
Yeah, I just have one question. Why, if we have two dentists, what is the, for the difference in the rate?
The services that they provide.
They provide two different things? Thank you. Question answered. Thank you.
All those in favor? Nays, abstentions. Item E.
Item E, approve the changes of dates for board meetings for 2022. Please see attached, and that is attached. I motion.
Mr. D'Angelo, do I have a second?
Second?
Mr. Cullen, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays, abstentions. Under personnel, item A.
Item A, I motion that we approve permission to advertise for an ESY extended school year teachers, district assistants, PCAs, and a nurse. The rate of pay as per our master agreement, and the deadline for letter of interest due no later than Friday, May 6, 2022.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Mr. Cullen. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays, abstentions. Item B.
I motion that we approve the permission of summer days for Dr. Damon Smith not to exceed 10 days.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Mr. Cullen, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Item F.
Mr. President, I motion with a D part to approve the retirement of George Gatto, middle high school assistant principal, effective June 30th, 2022.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Mr. Cullen, I'll read Mr. Gatto's letter dated April 7, 2022. Board President David Chicoletti, after much thought and consideration, I've made the decision to tender my letter of retirement effective June 30th, 2022. The struggle of making this decision was made more challenging because of the support and positive relationship I have enjoyed with the staff and the Board of Education. I have truly enjoyed serving in the roles of administrator, teacher, and coach in Bristol Borough School District. I believe my experience in those roles served as a better to the district and myself. While I look forward to spending more time with my family, please note I am available to serve the district in one or more limited capacity, should the board see an opportunity for me to do that. I believe my years of experience and my talents could serve in assisting the administration with their duties. It has truly been an honor and a pleasure to serve as an employee of the Bristol Borough School District. Bristol will always be a special part of my life. Respectfully, George Gatto. I asked Mr. Gatto how many years he was here, and he said, I think 38 or 39, right?
Somewhere around
Just
there,
like
yes.
I am, we lose track, right? Absolutely. Well, okay, Mr. Gatto, thank you for your years of service, and thank you for, the comment in there, you may be serving us in a better role, okay?
Thank you.
So thank you for your years of service.
Thank you.
Okay, at that time, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Yes.
No, no roll call.
No,
No,
don't
we don't
need
need
roll
roll call. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Nays?
No.
Abstentions? Approve the okay, John.
Item C, approve the resignation of Lisa Cato Gonzalez, cafeteria, effective April 1st, 2022.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Mr. Collins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Okay, now we're going to go into public participation. I just have two comments. I know we promised windows and air conditioning, and we had a afternoon meeting on the 17th of March. The the project is progressing. We're running into problems with materials being produced and having to get them ordered, and we can only do work during the summer, but we're going to try and at least get some of them in. And the windows look promising for at least this year and could be finished by hopefully Thanksgiving or Christmas. The challenge is with the air conditioning units, and we had our HVAC gentleman there, and it was like, well, we may have 6 or 7 units of the 40 we're going to need available in July, so I told our engineer and spoke with the HVAC guy. We had the window gentleman there. There was Dr. Schaefer was there. There was about 12 of us in the room. We met for about an hour and a half discussing these projects. So I gave the engineer a timeline as to the next meeting to give us an update as to whether we could progress with the air conditioners and see what can be done, because that work also has to be done during the summer. I'm sure that you heard we had a special meeting last Thursday with the intermediate unit who was conducting the search for our new superintendent. Dr. Schaefer is only allowed to be here until October the 1st. In laying out the timeline, and we had a Zoom meeting, it looked like that timeline was going to drag into maybe late July, early August. The board really doesn't meet in July, but they were willing to come back. So, in long and short, we decided to suspend the search for a superintendent. Dr. Davis was available. We called him that night to see if he had availability. He said that he is available, so he will come in when Dr. Schaefer leaves. He will be here starting, sometime the end of September, October. He can only have one superintendent, but, they may be together for a week or two. And so the reason I'm announcing that is we'll be negotiating a contract, and it'll be public information. We're going to sit down with Dr. Schaefer probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks and have his signature and, salary and a contract worked out. And then in the end of September, early October, we will then resume the search for a superintendent. And hopefully by January, we could have it narrowed down to 3 or 4 people, whatever the board decides, and then offer that person a job, and that person then would probably start in July when most superintendents start. So just wanted to give a quick update as to where we are on a couple of these projects. Okay, now for public participation. Okay, so I have the challenge and the opportunity and the pleasure actually to conduct a meeting. So here's the way we're going to do it. Okay, we're all going to be respectful. We're all going to listen to each other talk. okay? And we're not going to go back and forth with one another. The board members, if they want to speak, will ask for permission to speak. We're going to ask everyone to go to the podium, state your name. There is a sheet there for you to sign your name, okay? And if your name isn't legible, you know, the way I signed my name, we also have a spot for your address, because that has to be on our record. It makes it a little easier for our recording secretary. Now, with that being said, so hopefully the meeting could be orderly. I'm just going to say that we've conducted our business for the night. So if things get out of hand, I'm going to ask to please, you know, calm down and let's talk this thing through. If it does get out of hand, then I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. I don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So let's just, you know, be respectful of one another. So at this time, I'll open up the podium for public comment.
Hello.
Okay, before we go into public comment, yes, okay, I would like to put up on the screen in front of you, I've provided a timeline and a calendar. Yeah, okay, so I just want that up on the screen for the individuals to look at. Okay,
Hello, I'm Shay Chalala. I live on Porter Ave. I want to comment on the playground committee. There is money still in the same account that it's been for how many years, like Kelly said. Prior to the pandemic, some of us were working on getting there's a piece of the equipment for this playground at the high school. Joe Stallone got an estimate for a playground certified mechanic to fix it and install it back on the playground like it was originally. And then the pandemic hit and the whole thing, and I had talked with Minetti and she had approved it, but then again, everything just got. So we have money, we can get that piece installed back on there. There is also extra money to do other things with, whatever that happens to be. I spoke with a company about the paintings that we did, the map and the alphabet on the games. So that is a process. Apparently Kaboom, as wonderful as they are, and we were grateful, it wasn't processed the proper way, and that's why I've repainted that map 4 times myself, and it keeps coming back up because it wasn't prepped and coated properly. So it needs to be sandblasted off, then dried, and then apply, and then a top coat, and then, so it's a process, which with school being in and everything going on, we could do it ourselves, or we can have this company do it. I have the information. So that's another expense. If that's something that we want to do, maybe we're just going to let it, you know, that's up to you, Kelly, or whoever makes that decision. But there is money still from our fundraising back in the day, and we want to get the official approval for that piece of equipment to come back to where it was in, what is it, the teeter-totter thing?
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
So that was easily broken. So initially, when that playground was built, it was really intended for younger students.
Yes.
However, you know, we're K to 6 and 6th graders, 6th graders go out for recess. So it was easily, as well as it's used after school hours. So it was easily broken and it had those big springs. I've watched the fire department respond to children not in school who were there outside of school, get their fingers caught in those
So you don't want
springs.
it back?
I don't know. I don't know if it would be worth it given how quickly it broke.
Yeah.
And then the safety issue with it. So
And that's
I
fine.
think
And
the
then-
committee can decide.
Yes, exactly. So we do have those resources, and I'll provide the information, Joe and I, and then you could do what, I mean, I'm not stepping out, I'm just saying, you know, I have this information, the work was already done, no sense redoing it, and I'll give you that info.
okay.
Shay, why don't you contact me or Mrs. Rosado, and we'll sit down and talk.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that, Shay. I know you do a lot for the town. Thank you for all of that, and you have a concern here. And I think the best way to do this is speak with Dr. Schaefer and Ms. Rosado and Mr. Gatto, and we could plan on that. If you're recommending sandblasting, we could have that when the children aren't here. We'll rope the area off and, you know, make it safe and let them come in. And when you guys meet, I think the board is in approval of all of that. I'm not going to speak for everybody. We'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that's fine, and we've worked with the high school about them using their volunteer hours, or their, you know, community
Yeah.
hours to do the painting.
There's another good point. So, yeah, so check with Dr. Schaefer. We'll get a timeline on that, and we'll set up a date that the equipment could get installed, sandblasting, whatever.
And I don't know how long paint lasts, but there should be paint in this building, or the paint that we used before.
Man,
Look,
Yeah,
we'll-
Denny.
we'll get paint.
Don't-
Denny.
We'll get some new paint. We'll
Okay,
get
I just
some
want
new.
to throw it out there in case, for some reason, I moved to Alaska before I meet with them.
Okay, Shay, in a month or so, please let me know that things are progressing. If they're not, then I'll make sure,
Oh,
that we do that, okay? But I think that, it's all gonna work out. So just do me a favor, take some pictures what it looks like before, and we'll get an after, and we'll put it up on the screen.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
Thanks, Shay.
Next, public participation.
Good evening, council members. Tonight, we come here not to argue, not to fight or yell. We have had a great working relationship for almost 9 years, fully supported by quite a few of you. It looks like about 6 of them that I can tell that have supported us without problem, like I said, in about the last 9 years. All we ever asked for was to use the old field behind the school. That's all we ever asked for. And it's located in an area that is mostly owned by Amtrak, not even by the school board. And you guys said to us, okay. But again, you said, here are the conditions. It was insurance. We came to you with an insurance policy, you looked at it, you said you wanted us to double it, which we did. We have always provided to the school our insurance program. You wanted us to keep it clean back there, we always did. We brought our own trash cans, and we always cleaned up. Parents, at the end of practices, walked the length of the field. We even cleaned up areas we did not use without any hesitation. We even offered many times to clean under the bleachers, because we knew, along with our games, the same as high school, mess gets made. People don't go to the trash can, they drop their trash under the bleachers. So we said, hey, we will bring our entire organization over and we'll have the kids rake it out, bag it up, clean it up. We said, no, that wasn't necessary, that's somebody's job. As a matter of fact, we never asked to use the high school football field. John D'Angelo said to me one time, Chris, that's a taxpayer's field. Use your taxpayers. Use the field. And we said, thank you. Our plan was to just line a football field in the field behind at no cost to the taxpayers and just play our games there. We didn't need a fancy field. It was great use offered. We loved it. The kids and the families loved it. Organizations that had we would have an away game with them, they would say, no, we'll come to you because it's a beautiful facility. One of the things at our first meeting we had, and anybody can go back and look at the meeting, I was asked by a board member, is it all Bristol Borough kids? We said, absolutely not. He said, it's 80%. So we have a very small percent that are from out of town, and they're related to, they either grew up in Bristol and live another town over, they want their kids to come back here. They've seen the kind of program we run, clean, no headaches, and they were happy with it. Last year was the only single instance we had about parking. A police officer had come to us, he talked to us, and he said, we got a call about parking, it was hard to get through. We understood. We immediately rectified that situation. We came up with a way for them to park along the fence where everybody would fit, and it would be open. Our parents know exactly how to park since that incident. We make it clear, we put it in our parent packet the parents receive when they sign their kids up with our organization. In our first year on that practice field, lighting was an obstacle for us. But with the help of local supporters and people from the borough, we were able to secure not one, but 2 heavy construction light towers. I'm sure everybody knows what they are. Construction on 95, you see them a million times. They light up a giant area. Some council members have recently stated that they had safety concerns. In all of our 9 years, not one injury has occurred on that field of a serious nature. We have a list of certified CPR, certified parents and staff. We also will have this upcoming season AED training, which is not required by our league, as well as an ADE unit on site for every game and practice. Our entire staff takes part in heads-up training through USA Football. It is a mandatory thing through our league. We understand things have changed with the borough starting a new rec program. We're not even sure who is on this rec program until, as of Monday night's council meeting, we were notified of the 5 council members that are on it, and we were just curious to what board members here are on it. Right.
Chris, you want that answer?
Yeah.
Okay, so we were asked back last summer that they wanted to form a recreation board. The school board has committees, buildings and grounds, budget.
Sure.
So we asked for volunteers, and the members on that committee are Mr. D'Angelo, Mr. Cullen, Mr. Poplawski, and Mr. Parola. And I believe there's been several meetings with both joint council and school board.
Right.
Is that okay?
Well, I know you guys shuffled the boards once or twice. First it was council only was running the rec, and then they added in school board members.
They asked us last
Yes.
summer, he asked me, Mr. Di Giuseppe asked me, he wanted members of the council, of the school board and council to get together. And we realize you can't have 5 members from each group. Has to be an advertised meeting, so
Sure.
four from each. And I asked for volunteer, and they volunteered.
Sure. We understand what the rec program and permits were needed, which we were never notified. Our season starts the same every year as it has. We were informed via social media. All sports programs need to apply for a permit. Again, no one contacted our organization. We applied for 2 separate field permits with the school. One for the field that we've always practiced in, which we never had to do. When that was denied, we applied for the second one to the field that you had previously moved us to last year when there was a conflict with the high school field, which we played a full day of football on the field. And to be honest with you, the kids liked it better than coming on the high school field. The grass is softer, nicer. It was just a closed-in environment with the fence, and a little smaller and tighter.
So we did accommodate you last year because we
Absolutely.
asked you to stay off the field.
Absolutely.
And could I make a comment? And the comment is that the football field is for your use and our teams. And we don't allow the soccer team on there, or we don't allow soccer practice, or the field hockey team. And with all due respect, on their field, we don't allow football on their field or any other activity. So that's how our fields are kept pristine. You said our fields are in pretty good shape, aren't they?
Oh, they always were.
Yeah.
I mean, besides the one we practiced on.
Yes.
You know, when we first started, it was all dirt.
Yeah. So,
But it never flooded.
so you understand how that works, okay?
Oh,
So
sure.
we asked you, you said, can we go back there? And we even lined the field for you, I believe, right?
No, you
Because-
lined it for your high school program.
No.
We asked, no,
when you
actually,
went-
I went to Mr. Gatto and asked, could we pay the difference to make it 100 yards? Because you guys line it just for 50 yards for high school practice, half a field.
Well, that's the railroad's land. But I'm talking about the land that when you played inside of the track, We lined that, you had a football game there,
Oh,
correct?
yes.
Okay, so we cooperated there,
Oh,
correct?
for the last 8 years, we've had a great working
Okay,
relationship.
all right.
Which is what made our program run so smooth. We knew, building the program, we knew the wins would not come instantly because Bristol hasn't had a real contact sport in years. You're basically looking at 6 to 8 years to get these kids used to football. And as you can see, our fruits of labor are blossoming. We are feeding the high school program, which was our goal from the start, was to feed and strengthen the high school program, which was in decline. So we worked very hard at that. We always reached out to the high school coach. We wanted to run a camp together so our kids began getting a rapport with the coaches that might be their coaches when they leave us. At one time, there was a little issue of our oldest group. It was our 14 and under group of football players because they were old enough to play for the school. And they were getting some pressure from people to not participate in our program and play school only. And we said, we did not want conflict. We said, you choose. If you choose to play there, that's fine. If you choose to play here, that's fine. I recommended play both because you know at 14, standing on the sidelines, you're not getting any playing time. We don't have a JV program. So you're really just a bench, a body standing there, which I understand because I know the numbers had to be up. So it didn't affect what we thought at one time was losing the high school program. Again, we applied for 1, 2 of them, and they were both denied. So I don't want to waste anybody's time. We all have work tomorrow, school, whatever the case may be. So the Wildcats family, Bristol Borough, stand before you tonight asking for a resolution of this situation so our kids can play the sport our community has helped us build and provide to our boys and girls that we have done for the last 9 years. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Chapman, I want to ask a few questions to clarify. If you want to stay there, that's fine. Sure. You have your voice carries, so, as you probably know. Probably a lot of years on the sidelines, else that.
I put my life into this program.
I understand that, and I won't tell you my history, but there's a lot of us who've been in similar situations, so I understand that, I sympathize. You mentioned insurance. Now, I know you provided insurance. Has Bristol Borough School District ever been an additional insured under that policy?
Every year, same company, nothing has ever changed except for us. At your request, double it.
Okay, no, my question is, were we included, the district included as an insured under that policy? Were we named?
You never told us we had.
Okay, no, it's fine, I'm just.
What we submitted to you, as I stated, the first
All
time
right.
we gave you our insurance, the only thing you had said to us when you brought it back was, we need you to double it.
Okay, and that's because of the increased usage and things like that, correct?
I guess we weren't really given a reason.
All right.
We just told that's what needed to be done, and we did.
All right, these are clarifying questions for the most part. And obviously, insurance is for liability and protection for your program, for your kids, for your families, and ultimately for the
It
district too.
covers everything.
Okay.
Our policy covers everything. Spectators, school property, wherever we're playing, it's covered.
Okay. Now, with respect to that, my understanding is that the seasons you talked about normally have been the fall seasons. Is that correct?
Excuse me?
Fall seasons primarily is what you've been?
Well, it depends what sport. We run 3 sports.
Okay.
So we run our flag football. We start, our season kicks off first or second week of April.
Okay. Now, with respect to that, this particular field, as I understand, I've been by it, but it's been a while, was getting divots and a lot of different, needed some work, from what I understand.
I believe the school-owned parks were.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm only gonna talk about the school-owned parks right now. And as a result, the school district, for its own liability purposes, and perhaps even for yours, felt the need to make sure that it was properly taken care of, seated and everything else. Would that be that's a fair maintenance approach, is that correct?
That's what we were told. I mean, we always I let George Gatto know personally, we we seeded it 6 years in a row ourselves. When we started, that field did not grow grass. It grew little clumps of weeds. And it's training, years of the train tracks being there, that kind of silky dirt that really doesn't grow anything. We, right away, started buying seed ourselves and throwing it down. And it was growing. It was growing nice. What I see now, when I spoke with George, that he said it needed to be fixed and seeded and everything, was two little spots. I do have some pictures of the field. Two little spots that were down where the high school practices, not us. Not even in the area where we practice with our kids. So we figured, not a problem, they're gonna fix that spot. That's where the high school does practice, not us.
Okay. Well, I guess my point is, some officials in the district felt necessary to make sure that that area, the whole area that you're talking about, the school-owned part, was properly maintained and seeded. That was at least what they represented to you, is that correct?
Well, that was what was told me after we applied for the permit.
But,
Chris, take a look at the
I
calendar.
can't see that.
okay, well, the timeline will indicate that that program was.
If you like, we could read it.
Anyway, I mean, just go over your question. The timeline,
One at a
if you have
time,
it written up there, I'm okay with the timeline.
Okay. Well, my point is, you applied, I believe, on March 24th. Is that correct? Does that sound right? About 2 weeks ago today is when you applied?
Whatever date is on it.
All right. The
But
program,
we never had to apply for a permit to
Okay.
use that field ever.
all right.
So again, never did we have to apply.
The 21st.
Right.
Okay.
But never did we have to apply to have flag football there.
All right.
Because we went from flag football into a free summer camp into tackle football.
Okay.
It always rolled through.
Is that not visible, the calendar?
Not at all. I think it's
Could you tune that, can you put up a timeline? Okay, so, gonna take the,
All right, well,
okay, he's gonna take down the calendar and we'll put up a timeline. And that timeline is just that's when all the communication, we have the emails, we have pay stubs, we started on this field, actually, in December. It was hydro-seeded and it was dragged. Well, I meant to say aerated, sorry, in December. Mr. Prawl, and you can see by the timeline, already started those processes. So the timeline speaks for itself. The emails,
We're not arguing the timeline.
okay.
well, that's, I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make is, at least in part of it, is that the approach the district was making was well before your application was made. So it wasn't like there was any kind of idea that you were going to apply and we were going to do this program. That program was in place well before that. Now, my other question.
Let me just say this. I had spoke to George Gatto, and actually, John D'Angelo actually came out to our field, stood around, seen all the kids, and talked to us. Never once has either one of them mentioned this was being planned, or even considering being planned or in the works. Never once. So, I mean, this is not something we knew about.
All right.
Honestly, we don't, at least I don't, watch school board meetings or attend school board meetings. I mean, we really dealt with one person through an email, Chris McHugh, and again, we've never had a problem. Anytime we had a request, we'd say, I would have to ask the board, and it was always approved.
So when you put in your request, you could see the timeline, work was already being done on the field. There's a glare. Let's see,
Try that switch.
we're gonna have Paul see if he can do that. So we began work on that field in early May, seed,
Right,
hydro
I
seed.
understand what you're saying, your time.
So when
But
you-
again, we were never notified, so we had no idea
Well-
if this was going on.
Well, once again, it's a school district, we do this yearly. Not only that field,
We've been out there 9 years. and
your
it's-
9 years has been on the football field as the Wildcats. Your flag football has been how many years? 5 years.
Yes.
Last year was COVID, so nobody was doing anything. You were back there. We weren't even in school.
We did.
We weren't in school, okay? So, but anyway, the timeline speaks for itself that we started this process.
COVID, I don't believe, did
Well, no, I think the point, no, it wasn't that you weren't playing. The point was that the district itself wasn't as actively involved in monitoring the situation because it was basically just trying to make sure we maintained the school year. That was the whole point there. My only other question after this is, nobody else is using that field right now either, though, is that correct? Nobody else is using that field, so it's not as if you're not being excluded for somebody else's use, correct?
The track team is out there. I see the kids out there working. And the same as the other field. I know the field hockey is out playing on the other field, but also is some soccer group and a couple other groups are on the.
That's not this field.
But that's not this particular field we're talking about, the one you use. Nobody's using that particular field that you've used, is that correct?
Not that I know of besides us.
Okay,
Well, us and the track team.
okay, all right. Okay.
I'm not sure what else we can. Yeah, I mean,
And like I said, we tried to stick, when we started over there, we reached out to Amtrak, we let them know what we wanted to do and everything, and as of their reply, we were okay to practice on their part that is owned by them. This is why, with you guys gonna work on the field, we were staying out of your way. We didn't wanna get in the way, because we know our tackle season is coming up. To improve the field is good for all of us.
I think that's the point.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so we agree then that you'll stay off of the field until,
Yes, we'll absolutely stay off of the borough-owned part of the field, absolutely.
See, I think there's confusion of who owns what.
No, there's no confusion.
There's a picture of the field up there. Paul puts it
he
up.
has to come across our field.
Can you put the
Okay.
picture?
Yeah, I guess the question is, how will you access that triangular part of the Amtrak field without
How
crossing?
we access the part of the
Yeah,
field
can you
that
do it?
Amtrak
Can you
owns.
do it along the side there without having, okay.
Oh, yeah, we can walk, yeah, we can absolutely walk, we can even come up a block down and walk through a field that's not, I believe, not owned at all by, by the playground, and even walk up there, so we're avoiding whatever areas we work on. I don't know what areas these are actually working on.
Well, see, the question is, Chris, is that we would like to hydroseed the whole area, because when our football team practices, you could still see the lines there. We do a 50-yard, and some of our yardage is actually in the railroad's property.
No, not by their plans, I mean, we're going by directly what they,
I'm gonna give Chris this.
Here, let him put it up
No,
there.
it's up. They can
He
put it
has
here.
the same
Put
map.
it up in it.
So is what, see, on
Yeah,
the
give it to
part closest to our field house that we have back there. Okay.
Tony,
No.
Right, but we use that as a 50-yard line. We have that as a 50-yard line. So we go into the railroad property.
You put it up on-
So we would like,
Here, Paul.
we would like to seed all of it.
we understand.
He has it? Paul, that's only 50 feet.
We like to
right?
seed all of it.
We understand, I mean, as per the council meeting, Monday night, we were told.
guys, they need to come back to the
As
mic.
of council meeting on Monday night, we were told that I'm sorry, I reached out to George many times to ask when will the seating start, so we did not walk on there.
Yeah.
Right, and he never gave us an answer.
Well, this is the, we
He
met,
point that way once, but I have the emails of us directly.
right.
Texting, and I asked him many times, when is the hydro seating starting? He would always say, I'll get back to you, and never did.
Well, because the gentleman was asking us what we want hydroseeded, how many square feet, what we wanted. Mr. Gatto was trying to set a date for him to come out.
Right, but if you.
So it took about 10 days for him to come out. Took about 10 days for him to come out. The first thing he said is, we recommend that you fill in these shallow areas with dirt, which we did. He said that the gentleman from whatever the company is, it's listed up there, said that he would come out, look at the field, measure it. He gave us a price of, well, roughly $3,000, okay?
But I hope we can agree that the area that is sunken in that you're talking about is not caused by us. This is where the high school practices. They're much older boys, and they dig a bigger hole. They have a giant metal sled, and when they hit, they dig and tear.
Listen,
It's
no,
not something-
it's wear and tear on the field. When you
Sure,
started
not
your,
from us.
when you started your program, you had 1 or 2 teams, right?
Well, our
back-
first year, yes, we had one team.
How many teams do you have now?
5.
Wow, so see, so you see how the field gets tore up, right? Because you guys are back there, we're back there, and then the high school after
Well,
August.
we're 2 different spots. That's why I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
get confused that we're on the same spot as the high school.
So,
We purposely stay off that
Right.
so it doesn't get chewed up.
Agreed. So is what we're doing, we're hydroseeding everything. So you get a benefit of the other part of the field. That's what you lose, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so we're gonna hydroseed everything. It's an expense. We're gonna do that. We're gonna maintain that land.
Right, so then what is your solution?
We're gonna
We have a flag season.
we're gonna, well, we already started to work on that field.
I understand.
So,
but
well,
again,
now,
I understand that. This is why we reached out to Amtrak, and they have no problem with us playing in that area, and it's big enough for us to, to have a field.
so then we don't hydroseed that area.
Well, no, what I'm saying is,
Have an engineer come out and do it?
we were told that the hydro seeding was already did, and it failed.
So, now, what I'm saying is then, if we're not gonna hydroseed that area,
I guess, okay,
We'll put a fence up.
correct.
So you can access it.
Kind of landlocked.
so we have to ask the board then, like you said, because a piece of that land that's not gonna get hydroseeded is where we practice on that end. Because
This is Amtrak right here.
down in that area, I think,
Where did these drawings come from? See, that's what I mean, I don't think so. How did he get it?
well, we're gonna hydroseed where we could still see where we do a 50-yard line. We're gonna hydroseed, okay. Okay, well then so then the agreement is, then that we're gonna get it in writing from the hydroseed gentleman. How long, what's that? No, we'll go out and stake our area out. I mean, we don't wanna end up with a $5,000 bill. We will go out and lay out our area and ask that be hydroseeded, okay? And then is what'll happen, we'll post signs. And the hydroseed company will tell us how long we have to stay off the field. Now, in order for the guarantee to take place, we're gonna ask people to stay off the field. If the grass doesn't take, then we're gonna ask for them to come back and spray again.
We were told it was done, and it didn't take Monday night.
Where are
You
you
can watch
hearing all
the
this?
counseling yourself. We
What
were
was
told
done?
at the meeting, it was hydro seeded already, and it didn't take, so you just had to try something else.
No.
It was aerated.
No, Chris, listen, you went to a council meeting. I did not see that meeting. I teach at Drexel. I didn't get home till 10 after 9. Yeah, so here's what happened. The timeline, can you see it now? Is it visible?
No.
Well, just read them the dates.
Okay, so
Nobody
was
said it was
aerated.
hydroseeded Monday night because there was nobody from the school
it was
there,
the week
right?
of,
Correct?
okay, so let's read
It was
this.
aerated, not hydroseeded.
Right.
Who
On,
told you that? Right, but that's not anybody from us telling you that, right?
We're going by the only people that can.
okay, can I read this timeline to you? So we all understand it? Well, Brianna, they all have to, I'm gonna give it to Chris, but we're gonna, okay, Friday. Okay, follow this. Friday, April the 4th, Mr. Prawl aerates all three fields. All three fields, football field,
March 4th, March.
March 4th, March 4th. March 5th,
So, I'm sorry, not to interrupt, I'm just saying, with your timeline, so what was told at the council meeting about it was hydro seeded and failed, so you had to go another option. I'm just asking.
I understand what you're saying, but that's not, right,
I'm
the truth
telling
is it
you-
wasn't hydroseeded then.
The communication that we received,
well, okay, well, but now you're,
George would have simply said, Chris, it's hydro seeded already.
no.
I think
Let us-
I think they're talking, I think they use regular seed.
Yeah.
Right.
And it didn't take.
So,
It was
so
aerated.
let me
It
go
wasn't
through the
hydro seeded
timeline.
yet.
Let's go through,
And
let's-
from what I recall, it was regular seed. They tried that. Our guy, that Mr. Kroll tried, it didn't take. So now the next thing is aerated. Yeah, and I'm
so,
just trying to get this straightened out here. But regular seed didn't go, so now they're going to hydro seed.
Quite a bit of kids ready to go.
I hear you.
so that's where we're at, is that this started, Chris, and it was actually seeded twice. Fortunately, the field hockey field just had some small patches, and the football field just had some small patches that were, reseeded.
Sure.
So those fields were in pretty good shape. So Mr. Paul worked on that field, and it was determined, we met on the 17th of March to discuss the projects in the school. At that meeting, it was, let me make sure I have the right date here.
17.
Let me make sure. Well, we had a Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting, and that's when it was determined that we didn't think the seed was going to take. People were back there, and, it didn't look good. So we determined then that, well, let's have it hydro-seeded.
Right, so the field hockey field is not being hydro-seeded.
The field hockey field is not being hydro-seeded.
Right, because, I mean, there is multi-groups using that field.
Well, the groups that use that field, okay, they're told that they could go there, just like we tell them you can't go where you're at.
Right.
To preserve those areas. Now, we've always agreed upon that, correct? You don't see anybody on there when you're practicing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe our people.
Teams that don't have enough room up there, they'll come down and they'll play in a spot. And again, we move down. They will practice more towards right off of that 50 area, and they'll just play straight ahead towards the train track.
Okay, so we agree that we started to work on that field. And then you were told by Mr. Gatto, we were trying to set up a meeting with Mr. McHugh and yourself, according to Mr. Gatto and Mr. McHugh.
Yeah, we had it.
It's on here, the date's on there, and you were told, Chris, this is what we're doing to the field. And it's my belief from Mr. McHugh and Mr. Gatto that you said, okay.
No, that's not quite right.
Well, what,
Mr. Gatto presented what they were gonna do,
Mhm.
and I continued to ask when for dates, and I could not get a date. He wasn't even sure of the whole operation, and what he could tell me was, but not just, he said specifically, both fields would be shut down for what could be up to a year. That's word for word what Mr. Gatto
Well,
had told me with Mr.
whatever the hydroseeds gentleman tells us, so that he could guarantee that. But our timeline is that the hydroseed company was contacted on the actually the 14th, we deal with the McBrick Corporation. That was contacted for recommendations, and the recommendation was Land Tech. So prior to you even meeting with Mr. Gatto, the process was in place.
I don't understand.
Okay, well,
Again,
that,
why somebody would have talked to us and done
Can I
it,
just
and
chime in here?
we would be there.
So what, I'm sorry, what are you looking for? Are you looking for an answer for next year?
Correct.
You're already set up for this year? So are you here? So you're looking for something for next year? Obviously.
No,
Obviously, well, whoa. Let me get this straight here. You said you have a place to practice.
No, we want to practice right there where we always did. I said.
Isn't that
we're
Amtrak
okay
property you're
practice
gonna use?
On the Amtrak owned.
You're going to use the Amtrak property?
Yes.
So you have a place?
Yes.
You have a place to play your game?
Do all of that.
Oh, you have a place to play your games?
Our games were.
Are going to be away?
That's why we asked for the, field hockey field. And again, I mean, we couldn't get a answer on paper, so it was just, I was basically ignored about
Really,
that.
the field hockey field is field hockey, soccer, track. There are other fields in the borough. Can we use any of those?
So,
There's Otter
and that's my point. Did you
Actually,
ask about Otter
that's not
Street?
school district.
Well, you want to.
Borough.
It's not open.
No, it's the borough.
Yeah.
Did you ask about Otter Street?
Yes, of course we did.
Well,
But then,
And-
the only way,
just-
the only way we'll get consideration is we have to turn over our organization.
is there a formal way to request using the Otter Street?
Yes, yes.
Ms.
You-
Snyder?
But that's the borough.
You
Yeah,
have
that's
to go to the
Borough
borough
Hall.
and submit a request and, give them your dates, give them your times, and give them all that. And now, look, if they can squeeze you in, or if there's some, you might have to adjust things, but I'm sure
Right.
that you can find the time of day to, if you request it. But you can't, you don't know anything if you don't request it. That would be,
Exactly.
That would be
I'm
my
just trying to
first thing
figure
to
out how
do.
it works so we can get something accomplished.
Do you have a letter from Amtrak that says that you can use their field?
Yes, somebody has emails
All right.
on that.
And let me just ask this. Pops, how many people are using, who's using Otter Street?
Otter Street
The
right
school
now,
district does not have soccer, correct?
school district does not have.
The rec
soccer.
does. The rec does.
We don't have soccer.
Recreation uses Otter Street.
You have soccer?
Yes.
Soccer,
I
recreation
thought
has
it was
soccer.
St. Mark's.
Soccer, we have soccer for recreation and St. Mark's.
Now,
uses
how
it.
many teams?
There's just different age divisions. So there's about 5 age divisions.
5
And
different
when
teams.
does that start?
That is in August, September, roughly October.
So
why-
we do
you can
flag
go there
now.
and Chris, if you can go there, or go to the borough and ask to use that field. Evidently, it's not being used now. Why not?
Said they have an email, so we'll find out.
Did you,
I did not.
No, I did.
So
but I don't
in
know what-
order to
they
try
didn't
to
tell
use
you
the
you
Otter
can't
Street
go.
field,
Go
So
ahead.
they're not saying,
paperwork is at the borough.
There's no jurisdiction over Otter Street here.
Also, so I ran basketball. I'm on the school board. It still took me a month to get dates. I didn't
Okay.
start my registration till after I knew the dates that would work to where it was consistent.
Okay. My
So-
next question is, sorry to cut you off, but I'll forget if I don't. Once the field is hydro-seeded, normally is 6 to 8 weeks before you can go on it again. Tackle for us starts July. Once the field is able to be played on again, is it going to be a problem if we use it?
What, that
That's for your
issue,
football
that
program.
issue, the issue of football never came up. There was, hey, we're being attacked by the school district because we can't use that land. We're not even into football season. We're not even there.
But I'm trying to foresee the future.
Yes.
Is it going to be a problem for us to use that field once the seed has taken, grass is grown, and everything's fixed? Are you going to let us play on that field?
I don't see a problem with that, as long as all of the documents are in place. It's just like we do every year.
Okay.
It's just that the issue now is boiling over
Right.
because it's like
I
we're
agree.
being attacked, they want us off the land, and we're trying to show you our documents saying that we just want to improve that piece of land. You've never been denied our football field. We have a good working relationship. The field is pristine. It's cleaned up.
Right.
You clean it up. We clean it up. Here becomes our problem, and we talked about this at a school board meeting. When the committee met with the council members, and I'll let Mr. Cullen and I'll let Mr. D'Angelo and whoever wants to speak that's on that committee, what was determined at that meeting, John? Steve, Pops, when the council and school board met back in whenever that date was, I wasn't on that committee. What was discussed at that meeting?
Well, I can speak for me. I just said, look, and again, Chris, I know you've done the flag football, but here's my question. When you first started flag football, did you go there and ask Chris that I'm going to be doing a flag football? Do you have a request form? And it's okay if you didn't. But my point is this.
That's why I just want someone to say.
Well, wait a minute. No, you did. You did. At that time, you really should
Chris,
have.
can I say something, Chris? Chris, can I just say something?
But
Chris, can I
Chris,
just say something? You do an excellent job every year. On August 1st, it's like clockwork. I get your paperwork. This is the building and usage. You tell me I'll get you a schedule in September. Now, I don't know what you do on the field. I do live in the borough, but I didn't know you ran a flag football league until recently. All you would have had to do is in January, fill out a building and usage form and say, Chris, I would like to use the field. Because then it's a different conversation. I could come to the board and say, listen, they want to use the field during this time. But we already made plans to maintenance that field prior to you submitting a request. Why do we have to? Everybody, every outside organization fills out a building and usage form to use the auditorium, the gym, the football field, anything. Every organization, just like you do in August. You do the same exact thing. All we would ask you to do is fill one out in January.
so we know.
So we know.
Wait,
Otherwise,
nobody
I don't
knew.
know.
We went through with all these
And actually,
plans.
it becomes a liability concern because then
dropped the
we
ball.
don't have the knowledge technically to be able to oversee any of that. So
We have our own
that's really
insurance,
fun.
though.
Keep dropping
the ball.
We have our own insurance to worry about that.
That helps, but that's not the whole picture.
Oh, yeah,
The
not
district
ours.
has its
Yeah,
own
not
concerns
ours.
too.
Mr. McKee.
We're trying to find. I
You
think
guys
you
have
use
a lot
Otter
of land
School.
right behind here. We can't use this, the field behind here.
Unfortunately, I was going to get into that. Unfortunately, that field isn't playable, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's not
I
safe
got-
there.
I got the floor.
Sure.
You're always butting in and cutting people off. Knock it off. So a couple of years ago, when Mr. Pinelli was here still, we walked that field, we tried to get some things done. Let me just explain what happened. That was the big dirt pile out there, so real quick, the school district had to hand it over to the borough. The borough handed it over to redevelopment authority. They worked on that field, it was supposed to be playable, and we were gonna fit all this stuff in there, but it didn't work out. So then the redevelopment authority handed it back to the borough handed it back to us, Mr. Pinelli and I, and some others. There was lawyers, Bob White, all kind of people from the redevelopment authority went out there, and I said, you can't, we got handed a piece of crap. You can't, I would not play on that field.
Well, there's
And I
liability
put-
issues with that too, then, that's a
And I
concern.
pointed it all out to them, and they said, well, this is the best we could do right now. So that's where we stand. Hopefully, as a board, we're going to be able to do something with that. It's a big piece of ground that's wasted right now. But I talked to Chris a long time ago about that field, and as a coach or anybody else, I would not put my kids out there. I don't even like to walk my dog there because you can break your ankle. But there's a lot of usable space. There's some usable space, but it's very small, level. There might be some stones. You might be able to get a T-ball field on there. And then it would go down in lumps and everything else. Long story short, I wouldn't go there.
All right.
But
That wasn't
hopefully
my,
we
can I get
can
my
get
question
something
out?
done.
Can I get
Jeff,
my-
also, in there, that
So-
field, there's a drain.
Hold
there's a
on,
big
What I
drain.
don't
let this
understand
gentleman
is-
say something.
what I
Go
don't
ahead, sir.
understand is, I'm a taxpayer, my name is Marcus Wright. I joined, my son was signed up for your rec program, as you would say. And my son's mother was not happy with it at all, in any way possible. There was no games, there was no organization. The coaches were just standing around talking to each other. The kids were just doing whatever they wanted to do. Horrible program, horrible. I live here. I paid for it here.
That's the borough's program.
Yeah, don't blame the school board.
Yeah.
Are you not on
No, no.
that, on the program? Are you not on the
Are you
board for
talking about the
that?
basketball program?
Horrible, horrible, horrible. So, and I would ask a question, we know Chris built something great for 9, 10, however many years. I just started coaching for him last year. My son's on his team, loved it, made great friends, just moved to the borough. Made great, why are you looking at me like that, sir?
I'm just looking at you. I'm listening to you.
That doesn't look like it, it looks like you're being snarky.
I'm being snarky. Okay.
Made
well,
friends,
This
built
has
a
nothing to do
family.
with us.
These parents here call me sporadically at times, whenever. We build a relationship. It's more than just a team. We are a family. We feel like you guys are trying to build this organization. It's not working out. I know personally, because the kids that were there was not 13 kids there. We went from 150 kids to 350 kids. I feel personally that you guys want to take our kids, get rid of our program, take our kids, add them to yours, not put in the legwork with these children,
See, that's where
and
you're
go
wrong.
from there.
We're not part of the
We're not in
rec
the business of
program.
building a football
And you're
field.
saying we want to kill your
We
program.
don't run it. We don't run
Why
rec.
would we want to do that?
We
What
don't.
do you mean? What do you
Wait,
mean?
Where's
wait,
all
wait,
the
We do
parents
not-
at if you got
listen,
350
hold up.
kids?
If it's not a
What?
school,
What'd
if
you
it's
say?
not a
Where
school
are all the
team,
parents at? You got 350 kids?
They're probably with their kids or at work, doing
Where they
what they're
at?
supposed to do as parents.
350
My
people,
son's
I think
mom's
there would
at
be
work.
more people here.
At
We're
work.
not trying to ruin your program, though. That's what you said.
How many people would you have here for your meeting?
Hold on.
We're not
hold on.
trying
Where's
to ruin
everyone
it.
from the borough? So don't do that. Look
We're
at
not-
all the support we do have here.
Hold on, can I say
We
something
did
here?
support you for 9
Do you
years.
see the support? You're not right now.
Yes, we are.
You're not. You just said you supported us for 9 years. That means it's stopped
Yeah,
now.
we didn't stop
Come on,
it.
bro.
we are the school district. We do not have anything to do with rec. It's separate. If it's a school,
some of you guys are
Okay.
on that record.
Only one, I want to say, can I say something now?
Him specifically,
Hold on.
him specifically said, I don't.
What's the
I got
issue,
the
what's the
podium.
issue you have with me?
I got the
What's
podium.
the issue you have with me?
Because you want one chief.
Nobody wants one chief. I'm willing to work with Chris.
Hey,
Is that not
John,
what in
I
your
wouldn't
message you
start,
told
John. It's
John?
not once did I say
not
that.
here to
So
argue.
you can say what you want.
Yes, come on.
You can say
We're not
what you
here to
want.
argue.
I'm not arguing.
Because we made the recreation schedule around what the Wildcats are doing.
okay,
You
I
give
want to
the
say
thumbs
something.
up.
I was involved with the rec. Mike was running the program. We didn't throw these kids in the games. We were teaching those kids fundamentals. We had 170 kids. We had kindergarten.
My son came in there and ran around and did whatever they wanted.
We had 170 kids. We had
You
coaches.
did not.
Well,
I'm done.
you know what?
All right, let me
I know
go.
you know so much. We had our coaches there. We had a lot of volunteers that were doing basketball there. We had kids in kindergarten.
Come over here, come up to the podium.
What age group? We had up to the high school. We even had it. So I don't want to hear, that we should have had a million different games there. We were teaching kids fundamentals, which you need to learn.
Could you state your name?
So I take real offense of it. If it
You had
didn't
your
work out for
time.
you, you should have just left.
Anastasia.
Anastasia Greenway, I just want to say that my kids were involved in the rec program, and I do commend that you guys, it's a great program. However, my kids are a little bit over that program. Like, they're a little bit more advanced. So what the program offers is great for the kids who have no idea what to do, no idea how to play, basketball. It's like the basics. They do, basics things. So my kids were very bored with that program. I'm sorry to say that. And I would not sign them up this time around because I knew that they would not benefit from that program. I'm sorry to say that. I signed them up with Chris's program because that was something that my kids would benefit from. It was not fundamental, it was just games. My kids were a little bit older, they knew how to dribble, they knew how to do things, so they just want to play game. Honestly, my kids just want to do games. They just want to play, they just want to get on the court, they just want to do, boys things. And that's why I did not sign them up for the rec program. I think it's a great program. Honestly, I do. However, I feel that my kids being older, like my kids are 12 and 10, I feel they benefited more from the program where they can actually play games.
But
That's
we
it.
have nothing to do with that.
And we,
I'm just saying that my kids play football, they benefit from playing football. They looking forward to get out there, they're looking forward to play. They saying, hey, when is the next time of practice?
Yeah.
When is the next time is the game?
Absolutely.
So I feel as a parent that Borough is rejecting, the program where my kids can benefit from.
Well, wait, you're talking about
Our
the
input
basketball?
on the rec.
I'm talking about the football.
Okay, but
So
we're not.
football and the
recreation
basketball
doesn't do
kind of.
football. I'm not trying, recreation's not trying to take anything away from Chris. We have soccer and that's it. That's during the fall. And we have advertised that that's what it is. It's fundamentals. This isn't competitive. This is for the kids that aren't 100% into competition. This is to get kids out. This is an introduction to it. Do we see ourselves eventually possibly going that way? Yes, but we still do not want to interfere with Mr. Chapman's league.
I'm not saying that it's competitive. What I'm saying is that the kids, let's take the basketball program that you guys started as a rec program, right?
Right.
And Chapman started as just get the kids out there. My kids would not benefit from the rec program where they provide just the basic fundamentals for the kids because they're a little bit more advanced for that. So I felt as a parent they will benefit more joining Chapman program where they have games. They have, they might not have like a fundamental a program, but they have games, and that's what the kids want, especially the kids who are like 10, 12, a little bit older. They want to play games. They don't want to like learn what to do. They just want to compete. They just want to have fun. They just want to get out there. They just want to have fun.
How did basketball
That's
go
it.
for you guys? It was your first year for basketball. How did basketball go this year for you? Your first year.
Huh?
How did basketball, your kids played basketball for the Wildcats?
Yeah.
How did that go?
Great. I mean, they had really great time. They had a lot of fun. They were looking forward to get out there
My
and just
question
have
is,
fun.
were they playing 5-on-5? Was it 3-on-3?
Sometimes it was 3-on-3, sometimes it was 5-on-5. Depends on how many kids show up.
And there was there was no running around at the center?
There were no running. What?
Like the kids weren't running, like the young man just came, the young guy just came in and kind of accused us of just letting people run around the building.
No, they were just having a game. So if they show up,
I'm just asking a question.
When the team shows up,
Because
right?
once again, I have no problem working together with you as being
It
a
has
recreation
nothing to
director.
do with what we're talking about.
When the team shows up, so let's say, there are 3 kids show up, so the other team has to have 3 kids. So they play 3-on-3. Or whatever, 4 kids show up, they play 4-on-4.
Okay.
That's
Can I-
it.
can
Like,
also-
they just,
I mean, you were saying about the fundamentals and stuff. We did start a program this year. We were trying to teach fundamentals. Before the
first year.
pandemic, we had a league, and they had teams. They played each other. Matter of fact, our principal, Nick Nastasi, he was the last director when we had, right, Nick, when we had, how many teams did we have? 12. We had 12 teams playing, and they played games together. And before that, I could go on and name 100 people that were head of our basketball programs, like Lou Persicchetti and Junior Fields, and I can name 1,000 people that we had games and recreation. Even when I was a kid, it's been for years, and it has been going on for years. The pandemic kind of shut it down, and now we're trying to bring that back, and we just didn't want to just go ahead and just throw them out there and start playing games where the kids didn't know. We thought we did a really good thing by having a fundamental, like, kind of camp thing, and we had a lot of high school coaches there. We had a lot of great volunteers there, and I'm real disappointed that somebody was that disappointed that he thought kids were running all around, because I was there a lot of times, and Mike Poplowski was there the whole time. He was monitoring the bathroom, he was making sure the coaches were there, he was running timelines, the whole thing. So for someone said that everybody was running around, that's a false statement.
All right,
so
let's-
my kids have played
Okay.
the rec basketball before.
We've beaten this, we've done, we understand what you're
Okay,
saying.
whatever. Sorry, go ahead.
This has nothing to do with what we're
Hi,
talking
I met a few of you the other night. I've met a few of you through the soccer program you guys had. I have children on both sides of this. My daughter played soccer. My sons played football. I'm a team mom for football. I watch all these kids play flag football, basketball, soccer. Again, so I've seen both sides of the rec program and Chris's program. First off, I'm not going to sit here and badmouth you.
Thank you.
Do I think I've had issues with one coach on the soccer team? Because my daughter, as you met her, has social anxiety. When you yell at somebody with social anxiety, they shut down completely. They're done. And again, like you brought back, you got to learn the fundamentals before you learn the game. My daughter, she'll be 11 soon. She never played soccer a day in her life. She never wanted to play a sport a day in her life. I got to say, she absolutely loves soccer now. But she didn't, because when, I want to say his name, but I don't want to throw nobody under the bus.
Please don't.
Just keep going.
Okay, well, you know who it is.
Yeah, I
If
know.
you could
Just
pass
keep
that on
going.
to me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
When that came to a head, you saw how shut down she got.
Yep.
You were there firsthand. But I, as her mother, John, as her father, we had to show her the good in people. She walked over, got her right back into the game, and I gotta say, I saw on Facebook that the soccer program was coming back. I asked my daughter, because at first she didn't like the fact that there was no games. She felt like it got boring for a while. But you know what? She that quickly was like, you know what? I want to go back. I need to learn a little more before I can get on an actual team. I was appreciative of that, because again, my daughter didn't want to do nothing. All I'm looking for is for all these borough kids to be able to stay out of trouble. I do not want them to be another statistic. I do not want them to end up on the streets and, God forbid, end up in jail or end up worse than that. And I'm sure we all can agree on that, I would hope. All I want to know is, yes, I'm thinking of the future. I know we're not at tackle yet, but as a mother who has boys that play tackle, I need to know, should we start looking for another field? Are we going to be able to use the field we're on? Are we going to continue to have the communication level that we've had with you guys? Because here I am, I got to think of the future. I got to make sure these kids have something that they can go ahead and go to. And if you guys can't help us with a field, then I need to start looking now to make sure they have something. That way they're not on the street, that they can go back to playing tackle when it's time.
I don't see a problem. I'm only one vote here. I don't see a problem with the way things worked out. I thought they were working out
Stay
well.
off of Facebook and maybe you won't have a problem.
Unfortunately.
I'm sorry, what was that, sir?
Stay off of Facebook with the petition.
First off, I did a petition.
No, I know you didn't do it. Who-
I did the petition. My name was Brittany Dugan.
Oh, you did? Okay.
My name is on the petition.
Okay.
I will take full ownership of that.
Okay, well,
But you
you
know what?
accused everybody.
I was trying to be respectful, sir.
Okay.
And I was talking and you interrupted.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So go ahead.
Finish.
I don't, like I said, I'm one vote. I've known what's going on over there. I go there, I watch the games. I know
I've
Chris.
seen you out there.
I don't see a problem. It worked out well. There was no real issues. Scheduling was not a problem, I don't think. Unfortunately, I wasn't involved in none of this air rating and seeding and all that. I'm not on
I
that committee.
understand.
So for next year, I don't see a problem. I mean, I just wish I could do more, or we had a better idea if we were to help you out more now.
And that's all I'm
But
trying
those
to do.
fields need work, and
That's all
we
all of
know.
us parents are trying to do, is make sure these kids stay busy and they're not, because they don't have a field, they have to go somewhere else.
That's
all.
why I asked about Otter Street, or
And that's
even-
why I'm saying, if you guys can't help us with a field, I need to know that. So as a mother, as a parent, I could start looking for other fields to go to.
When the
We
time-
don't want to go to
when
another
the
field.
time-
We love working in the borough, a
When
lot
the
of
time
the older
when the
kids.
time comes, Chris can, or whoever, is in charge of the organization, puts in their use of occupancy for the field or permit, whatever they call
Okay.
it, and let it go from there.
Okay.
And we also agreed that there'll be a fee for the use of the football
And we
field.
understand that. Do you have an idea?
Okay, so remember, as a public entity, as a school district, we have to explain everything. So how it'll be based on, remember, 1 team, 2 teams, 3 teams, 4
Absolutely.
teams. How many teams play on a Saturday? 5? 4?
Some are home, some are away.
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes 2, sometimes 4.
Okay, so
Somebody's always away though, so it's never.
So let's go with the high end, 4 of them, let's say.
okay, so
Except for homecoming, we try to have all the kids in our homecoming here on the high school field.
Okay.
And we always ask for the 2 oldest teams to be allowed to play under the lights.
and we've granted you that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's how we're going to do it, okay? And we all agreed to this, is that when you submit your paperwork, you're going to give us a schedule as to when your games are, okay? We are going to see, because sometimes we have an employee there on a Saturday. When we don't, it becomes an 8, 9, 10-hour day. Now, when that happens, okay, it's overtime for us. We pay 34% of every employee in this district. 34% has to go into a retirement account. We have to pay Social Security, we have to pay that. So when you give us the dates, we will match up when an employee's there, when an employee's not there. We understand that employee has to be there an hour ahead of time, open up the gates, and usually an hour, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours after, clean the bathrooms and do whatever has to be done.
Makes sense.
So it becomes hard because it's every Saturday. And we only have so many individuals that are willing to work on Saturdays, even though we offer time and a half. So when you present us with the schedule, you'll sit down with the business manager and he will show you what it's costing the school district. We're not charging a penny more, but it's taxpayers' money that's being used for that purpose, okay? So we understand that there's going to be a fee, and that will be explained. Now, in July, the custodians get a raise,
Makes
So their hourly rate is different, but all of that will be explained.
Okay.
All of the paperwork will be granted to you. If all of the paperwork is in order, you agree to the fee schedule. Have you ever had a problem before? Once all the paperwork's in, have you ever had a problem? Never, right? No, okay. So once all your paperwork's in, you agree with Chris, okay, you sit down and you agree, wait a minute, this is when I'm having my games, okay, I gotta call somebody in here. Then we'll let you know what the fee is gonna be for that particular event.
Let me just clarify. So you're saying if we play tap football on your football field, we're going to have to pay. So if we lined a football field in the practice area, there would be no fee.
No, there has to be, a custodian has to go back, empty the trash cans, it still has to be monitored.
We bring our own trash cans and take them. You've never provided us with trash cans.
It's still, the area still has to be monitored, but if that's what you choose to do, then just let Mr., just talk about it. If that's what, if that's,
I'm asking you, if we're talking about fees, if we did it that way, there would be no fee.
No.
well, we didn't say that. When it comes time for that,
Now, here's my question.
on the football field, when it comes time, well, we'll talk about that, but when it comes time in July that you submit your paperwork, you tell us where you want to go.
Okay, now here's my
I'm
question.
asking you right now, if we're talking about it, if we're there and no janitor is needed, even if we line it ourselves in that area, why would there be a fee?
Okay, now here's my question in regards to those fees. People keep going back to these taxpayer things. As a taxpayer, aren't we already paying for that?
That's above and beyond what.
It's above and beyond that, and there's, if Paul could put that up on the screen,
There's something still up here. I
well,
can't-
I apologize for that,
It's
but
fine, it's not your fault.
there's a code that, and we'll present you with this, that we have to follow, and it gives us the right to lease our land and to, at our discretion. But it also allows us to be reimbursed for expenses. And it basically says that, as long as all the paperwork is there, Mr. Trulove explained that, they can't see it on the screen, what that code says. Now,
Yeah,
listen.
the school code has a specific section, 775, that talks about the Board of School Directors shall have the power and authority to lease any part of their respective school building, equipment, premises, etc. Such leases shall be subject to terms and regulations which will be adopted by this Board of School Directors. Now, those regulations are part of policy. You go on a website, you'll see there's all kinds of policies that every district has. It's not just Bristol Borough. And every district has, and usually they're the same number, 707. It's use of facilities, and they list the types of groups, and there's all kinds of things like that. We have forms, things that you fill out. These are all part of that because there is a cost that goes above and beyond. And while everybody's a taxpayer, you use fields just over and above what normally would be used. Every place that I've ever worked has the same thing. The town I live in does the same thing with their baseball fields. They've always done that, even though I've lived in that town for 38 years and coached for 18 years. That's part of what they do because there is a cost, either maintenance or some other. Even if you have your own people clean it up, there's got to be somebody there to make sure that the district is protected in whatever way. Not because you're not doing a good job,
It makes sense.
just because
But then-
as your program increases, there's a burden. So we have to have
It's
somebody.
something we'd have to come
I know,
across
but I mean,
in July.
any other previous year, this was never discussed.
And here's why, Chris. Okay, and here's why. And look, I, as a school board, none of us can say, hey, we're going to let the school give the district, your group land for free and let you use it, right? But what we can say is, if you raise money, I'd be glad to donate to you as a personal person, right? To donate to help you defray. The cost of using the field are based on what you're going to do. Now, whether you didn't have to pay before, that was really an oversight on our part. What we should have done is made you pay, but we didn't, right? And again, when you came to me and said, I remember it, and I said, look, I can't tell you, just go, request, ask, say what you want to use it for, give them the dates, just like anybody else. And we have a policy we follow. Now, unfortunately, we've been letting you, Right, we've been letting you, right. We've been letting you do it, but now we can't because the law is coming, and all I'm saying is,
Yeah, but you said this now, you probably should have said this.
Well,
Chris,
Chris,
So if we have somebody at the podium, let's just move it
if
on.
I could just say one thing, I won't dispute what you said, it should have been done before. Also, you're not the only group that's subject to these regulations, okay? That use.
Think I am.
Okay, well, that's the point, but other entities are also charged for some of these things too, if they use facilities. Yes, charitable nonprofits, absolutely, yeah. I mean, now, to your point, different groups, depending on their classification, are charged lower fees than others. I mean, you could have something that's a larger organization. Look, there could be an argument that can be made if you're, even if you're a nonprofit, if you have a certain classification, be charged a lot more than what the district is planning to do. The district is not doing that. They're not talking about that. So I don't want to get into that tonight, but there are ways that if they wanted to, they could really be hard on you for that. They're not.
Right, I understand, but I'm just still confused that if we're gonna play on the field that we need no janitor, we need no assistance from you guys, period. We have our insurance, we're gonna line it ourselves. We're not gonna ask you for anything, not even your field markers, not your cones, not anything. Provide our own trash cans, clean up our own area. Why would there be a fee?
Well, I will say this. It's good
I mean,
the job.
I'm just saying, the guy who maintains the field sits on council, correct?
He's our contractor that cuts our
Right,
grass,
right.
yeah.
But
And
that's
we
not.
pay, we have to pay to cut the grass, we have to pay to have it hydro seeded. Yes, we do all of that.
Maybe he's doing that.
But
for
my other point would be, in some respects, even for liability purposes, as good a job as you do, you may still need somebody from the district to be there just for that purpose, because it is our property being used.
But I don't see anybody from the district at anything else that goes on down there. So if
Where?
somebody else is doing
Wait.
something on the weekend,
what specifically?
but when there's soccer down there on the weekend, I never see.
Down where? Behind the high school?
Sure.
Right?
If there's anything in the spring,
But
that's
that's
nothing to do
the
with
borough,
recreation.
that's either a borough soccer program, right?
Right, using the field house.
Who is it? What is
St.
it?
Mark's. St. Mark's uses that.
And we have an agreement with them.
We have a written agreement with with council, and we have a written agreement with St. Mark's that we could share facilities.
Right, so you ask them to pay if they're using your field?
They're a different classification, plus, they're technically a community borough organization, and those agreements have been in place for decades. as far as I know. So this predates anything that happened with you.
How long have they been playing on Otter Street now?
I don't know about Otter Street, I can't tell
And
you
borough
that.
students can't play there unless they attend that school or go to CCD, correct?
Correct.
So I mean, borough kids can't even play in them soccer.
Right.
Well, it's a CYO program.
Wait a minute, hold on. Say that again?
The St. Mark's has got to be either CCD or in school.
Or a student.
But borough resident can't play for St. Mark's CYO?
Only if you go to the school or go to CCD.
Unless you go to the church.
Well, Jeff, they used to I've been thinking for 2 hours.
All right, go ahead, let this guy, you guys.
Go ahead, John.
Get back to the solution.
My name is Luis Reyes. I'm also a coach and part of the board member for the Bristol Wildcats. I'm sure not many of you guys know me since I'm not even from Bristol Borough. I actually live in Cheltenham, so I come here from Glenside, Pennsylvania, which is about 40-minute drive. And the reason why we do this is for the kids. And I feel like I understand everything that's being said on both parts. And I was also at the council meeting. I understand everything that's being said on that part. I also feel like we're losing focus of what the purpose of everybody being here is about. It's not just about the field. It's about the kids. I mean, currently, I've been in this program for 4 years now, and I've built relationships with a lot of these kids that are now in the high school team. I'd say about half the high school team for the Bristol Warriors, I got to coach them at one point when they were 13 or 14 years old. And I've built relationships with a lot of them, mentorship relationships where, we've been able to help these guys. We've also seen the other opposite where, a kid gets removed from football for X or Y reason, and we see where that happens, where that goes, specifically here in Bristol Borough, and that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to make sure that these kids have a place, not just to stay busy and stay around, but a place where they can find certain mentorship so we can help these kids. Now, That being said, you know, I want you guys to also try to understand a little bit of, for a lack of a better word, our frustrations when, you know, we go to a council meeting just a couple of days ago, and the council says, that's not their problem, we gotta talk to the school board. Then we come to the school board says, that's not us, that's the council. That's what happens in the meeting. And the reason why is because we're getting lost in technicalities about the fields, right? So like, the practice field, we can't use it because it's a school district property. So they say we have to talk to you guys, but obviously, based on everything that you guys are saying, it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to use it because it's being receded, so we have to talk to council. But council is not willing to give us anything unless we join their rec program. That's the reality of it. We can go through all the proper procedures, which Chris has applied and gotten denied, and they made it very clear in the council meeting that we have to be part of the rec program in order to have access to borough fields. That's.
You're saying you applied to use Otter Street and they denied you?
We haven't done that yet. But at the council meeting, it was discussed, and they were very clear in what they said. We have to be part of the rec program, hand over everything that we have in order for us to be able to apply for the borough fields. Otherwise, whatever we were arguing about at that point on the meeting was about with the school district because it was about the school fields. So we bring to you guys to kind of find a solution. It's not about the back and forth. We need some help finding a solution where we can find fields in the borough, because at the end of the day, all we want to do is just help these kids.
Sir, can I say?
But then once this field is done, aerated and seeded, whatever, hydro-seeded or whatever, I don't see why things can't continue as they were.
Not only was it told that we won't be able to use it for 8 to 12 months, but we already have a program in place where we need a field now.
We agree. Let's go. Let's.
Hold on. If you were told 8 to 12 months, that means our football team will not have our high school football team also.
They won't have nowhere to go.
They won't have nowhere to go. Our middle school football team.
We don't really believe that's
What the
gonna
problem
happen.
is
We
we're
need it by
focusing
August.
on August and September, when right now, really the focus is your flag football league, correct?
Yeah, flag
So
football
we're
is
talking
league
about
is
two different
everything.
things. We can have committees and meetings with George, with Chris, in June and July. There's no reason we can't sit down.
Right.
For
But
your
we
football,
understand.
for your football
now,
program.
at this point, it's understood that the fields are going to be reseeded and you have to stay off it. We agree to that?
No, I mean,
Stay off Bristol Borough School property.
We're seeding everything,
Okay for Amtrak to use the park they own.
but we're seeding everything.
You need the email from Seth. You need to come up to the mic.
that's.
Well, that's what we're asking you. We're going
We're
to,
talk about the area that's not owned by you guys, so we don't affect what you're doing on there. The area we play in, we have no problem seeding ourselves, there's good grass there now.
And
right. Well,
what I will add,
You're not spending any taxpayer dollars.
Let them talk.
and what I will add, real quick.
Right now, I'm tired of everybody's arguing.
Right.
You mingle with each other, going, you button heads. It's about the kids.
That's what I was about to say. So I get, for tackle football later on, but yes, we do need the field now because we start working with kids now for a reason. We don't do it for money. We don't do it out of the kindness of our own heart all the time. We do it for the kids. So I get it that, for tackle we'll have this discussion tonight, but we need it now because we need to start working with these kids now. And if any of you guys have ever been involved in football at all, understand that flag football feeds into football, not just to bring numbers up to get more kids from the borough in, but also for safety purposes. When tackle football starts, we start ramping up these kids physically as of right now. If you think that you can take a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old from their couch playing video games in July and get them ready to hit another kid in a month later, that's not that you're putting them in a situation to fail, and we're not trying to do that. So again, that's why we're at the council meeting. That's why we're at the school board meeting. It's not just to argue, it's to find a solution, because I think the common goal here, right, is to make sure that we do the best by the kids. I don't want to get lost. I get there's things that have to be taken care of, but I don't want us to get lost in these little technicalities about who said, he said, he said, she said, when we have to, I know there's a way we can find a solution for these kids.
We agree with you. I agree with you. But here's the thing. There's always been a problem with fields in this town. When I played midget football, I'm not even going to tell you how long ago, you know where we practiced at? You know where we practiced at?
On the baseball field.
The baseball field. The softball field.
Right.
The little league. The hardball field in the grass. And then we played our games on Sundays on the football field.
Right.
So we're gonna gonna try and work with Chris and hopefully unfortunately, right now, you know, just with the seating and all that, again, I don't wanna repeat myself, but unfortunately, we can't do anything right now.
This is,
As long as we stay off the borough-owned part of the field.
well, there's a small problem, Chris, and that's what we're trying to explain to you. But let's go, well, when we lined that field,
All right.
when,
Let's move
on the end of the field, Chris, on the end of the field that we use, on our end, we go into Amtrak property. That's where you said it's bad. We want to cede that, but it's their property too. So you're asking, but where we're at is bad. Okay, so we want to hydroseed that area, where we're at, okay? And we'd like to hydroseed the whole field so that it all comes back nice. Can we do that? Can you find an alternate field?
We will need your help to find an alternate
How
field.
about like Silver Lake? Is Silver Lake available?
Well, we don't go back and forth because then they're going to say, well, we want to use the football field, and then it gets, you see what I'm saying?
I'm saying, we need to move our flag football over to the field where they play football.
There's track going on. There's track going on. You can't do both.
Chris, once again, when you play football on our field, the high school field, who else plays on the field? JV, varsity?
There's no JV.
Junior high. Junior high, varsity, and you. That's it, right? Who plays on the soccer field? The field hockey team? The field in the middle where the track is. Okay, so we've been doing that for years. Yeah, we've been doing that for years. We don't want the fields messed up. The question is, we would like to hydroseed everything. We've proven and showed to you.
Even the Amtrak
You're not going to hydroseed the other field because all your sports just started.
So I have a question.
No, that field is in good shape. It just had some bald areas.
So I have a question. So since the field hockey field where the track is specifically used for those sports, and at least for this period, since you guys want to hydro seed the whole field, we cannot use it. Flag football, I understand it's football and it's not field hockey, but it's not contact football. The wear and tear on the field is similar, if not the same, to a field hockey game because there's no tackling. Is there any way that an exception can be made so at least we can have our flag football in that field and then we can just move over to the other field for tackle once everything is figured out? Is that a valid ask that we can kind of go through the proper channels to do? Because again, I understand it's only one sport, but flag football is not the same as, 11 on 11. It's 5 on 5 flag football. So it's a lot smaller area. It's a lot less.
We utilize that field, and once again, specifically, Chris could vouch for it. He plays on our football field.
Right.
Our teams play there. We don't allow anybody on it. We don't want to start that. We're sorry that this field maintenance had to take place. We'd like to hydroseed everything. We've showed you, according to our schedule, and I'm sorry if you can't see it, I apologize, but we're trying to hydroseed that area so that it'll be ready for our team and your teams in the fall.
That's great.
Okay, and we all agree to that, but we like to hydroseed everything at this point. So can you find, Chris, can you find an alternative field? We will get, the gentleman that comes out and says that hydroseeds the field will tell us how long we have to stay off it. We're not going to stay off it a day longer because he's going to guarantee it, right? So we want that grass to grow. So if it doesn't grow, hey, get back here and hydroseed it. We're saying to you, we'd like to hydroseed everything. Even some of that Amtrak land that you're on. What's,
Come up to the podium.
Guys, you guys need to come up to the podium.
Excuse me. My name is Lisa Rivera. My son attends Bristol Borough School.
We can't hear you. We can't hear her. Is there a microphone? Yeah, go ahead, hon.
No, I don't need a microphone. They can be quiet. My son attends Bristol Borough School District. He plays multiple sports. He tries to do baseball. He tries to do wrestling. We don't have wrestling for younger kids in this district, so we have to go out of district. He's been begging me for years to play football. I was always against football because I work in a hospital. I see brain injuries. I was always nervous. So, that being said, I did give in and allow him to try flag football because it was less of a contact. He did tremendous. He did so well. He enjoyed it. Everybody there taught him all the rules, the fundamentals. I know nothing about football. The organization, they welcomed him, took him in. It was like one big family. That being said, that's a gateway for him to join tackle and move up. And then when he gets to high school, if he does want to continue to play, he already is ready for it. Not starting out in 7th grade or 8th grade or, 9th grade. So I'm just wondering, is there anywhere, I know that this keeps going around and around, the flag football doesn't seem important to some people, the tackle is the majority of the issue, but flag football is important to me. The field that the football players use for the high school, the regular football field, is that not allowed to be used by any other sport or any other organization, just even for flag football?
Exclusively for the Wildcats and our football teams. And we're trying to hold off that field because we have graduation coming. And we want the field to be pristine. And like Chris said,
Right.
when he plays on that field, teams say,
That's the regular field. I'm talking about the actual football field for the high school.
That's what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
So they're not allowed, nobody's allowed to practice there during this time of season since there's nothing going on at the school? So there's no other area that is not being utilized that is okay just even for flag football? Since it's really
Because
not-
the field is being maintenanced at this time. See, there was a breakdown in communication that we started this and it was already out that, well, we're starting a flag football. So we're just trying to show you because, he said, well, we're under attack. Well, we're showing you that we started maintenance on that field. We want that field to have grass on it for our team and for
Right.
your activities. And we're asking you tonight, we want to seed the whole area. We want to do that. And the gentleman that seeds the area will tell us how long we have to stay off of it. Don't forget, that's our people too.
Right.
So if we're in agreement, we're going to seed everything. We're going to keep everybody off the field in June, Chris, in June, you will submit all your paperwork to Chris. You will decide where you want to play. We'll sit down and we'll talk about that use of wherever you're going.
So now they're allowed to play games they're only allowed to play games at the main football field, like the high school football field? They're allowed to use that for games only, not practice?
Yes. Our teams go back and practice there to keep that field pristine. And Chris doesn't even use that. He goes in the back. There's so much activity on that back field, so much that it's getting tore up. Correct, Chris?
The gym classes even go out there.
What's that?
That's closer
We
to
agree.
the track.
We agree. Yeah, so that's what, so rather than just do our area, we're doing everything. This, we utilize, if you look, we utilize a piece of that. We make a 50-yard line.
No, your 50-yard line is nowhere near there.
We go into their land, but that's not the point. We'd like to hydroseed everything, Chris.
Let's finish this up.
So they can use the field for games only, as long as they find another field to practice at in the interim?
No.
Am I?
We use their stadium for tackle.
So I'm talking about for flag, they're not
Not
using
for
it, no,
flag.
we
Not
can't
for
use
flag.
it for flag. Oh, we can't use it at all. See, I thought we could use it since it's not being used, only for games, so.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So the issue here is, we like to hydroseed everything.
Yes, go ahead and hydroseed everything.
Okay, now, in June, whenever you meet with Chris and you turn over all your paperwork, you decide as to what you want to do, okay? Hopefully, there's nice green grass back there, so we're ready to go. Is that fair? Is that fair?
If that's what you want to do, I am fine with you hydroseeding the field.
Okay, so we haven't, we,
My qualms is not about hydro seeding. Like I said, what we were told was you did it once and it failed. So, I mean,
we're,
so now you just want to do it again.
whatever you heard, you're hearing it from, and you could see it, I apologize for that, what we've done. We're not restricting you because we don't want you on there. We started the process. Okay.
So yes, in
Good.
that aspect, we are in agreement.
Okay, so Chris, you're okay with that? We're gonna hydro seed everything.
Sir, you want to say something?
You're hydro seeding anyway. You don't
Well, actually, Chris, they recommended putting down dirt, which we did in a hurry because he said that he was coming out this week, but he realized that it was raining. So we think he's gonna come out on Monday, Tuesday at the latest. We're ready to go. We are ready to go.
We ain't stopping anybody from hydro seeding.
Right,
We're all in agreement on that.
Go ahead and hydro seed all you want.
okay, so,
Like I said, it doesn't affect.
Well, he's saying he's going to play.
no, we're hydro seeding everything.
I understand what you're saying.
He's going on the Amtrak regardless of what you say.
It does
So-
not affect us. You go ahead and hydro seed.
But
Where are
we're
you gonna
doing,
play flag football?
I understand what you're
We'll
saying.
figure out what to do.
okay, so,
We'll figure it out.
all right, so we agree, so let's get this straight. We've had a good meeting, haven't we? Good. And isn't it better, let me make a comment. Isn't it better, and I'll get to you, sir, isn't it better to talk this way than on social media, isn't it? Yeah, and I don't want to open the can of,
Watch these meetings, so they have to know.
right, but that's why you're here and these people are here, so we could discuss this. They could see that, what's going on.
This gentleman's got to talk.
Good, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Kevin Terrio. I have a couple questions. Of you, the
hold
whole
on,
board.
okay.
Sir, hold on, we can't hear you.
You guys
Chris?
vote. You guys vote as a board as to who uses your fields. The school board fields. You vote as a board as to who uses them. Is that correct?
It
or-
doesn't get that far. What happens is, if an organization qualifies, in fact, I don't think the group originally went through a board vote. If they qualify through the policy, through the statute, to make an application, that's how it's done. I mean,
Oh, so you guys have no say who
There's
uses
not,
your
there's
field.
not a public vote. The board
There's
the board doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, if
control.
the building facility's not available, then we would tell them that.
Right.
It's not always accommodated if there's a conflict of, we got a graduation going on and somebody wants to use the auditorium. Obviously, we can't accommodate
Yeah, I
everybody.
understand that.
Yeah.
And as far as the seeding of land, you're going to seed Amtrak's land at the taxpayers' dollar.
Small portion of that. We're seeding everything.
But how
We
much
use
more
that.
How much more money is that going to cost the taxpayer?
You gotta remember, we're also using it too.
We also use it.
We're using it. We're using Amtrak's land
field.
too.
You have
We're
an
using
agreement
it.
with Amtrak to use that land, or are you just?
Well, they did.
We maintain it. We maintain it. We cut the grass, okay? We don't put any structures there. We don't go on their land but to play football. So if we're on their land to practice, how much are we on their land in an hour if we practice? Somebody throws a ball, it's 10 yards on their land. But we have to seed that.
You said you cut it too.
And
man.
you
We
also-
cut it. We pay to cut it. We've been paying to cut it.
And you also stated.
Yes.
You also stated that the school board has an agreement with the town council to use their fields.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
To
you.
use like the field on Otter Street.
No, we
We
don't.
don't use that.
No.
You don't use any.
School doesn't use it.
School
does not use it.
I understand.
The
rec
agreement
program
is
does.
that the rec league would come here and use our gymnasium, okay? Because they're school property. We have an agreement with the borough. We have an agreement with the Catholic schools. If we get jammed in with all the basketball teams we had, we could use their gymnasium. We have a working agreement. We have things in writing, yes.
And is there any money
No.
It's all for it.
It's a different class.
Yeah, it's a classification of community groups. Again, that's been going back and forth for decades, literally.
Actually, I'm sorry, not to interrupt, but a good idea we could probably figure out is, since you know what you're paying to hydro seed, if you looked at it, figured out what the cost was that you're spending money on that doesn't need it, take that out of the equation or apply that towards us using the high school field, it would be like a clean wash. We would stay off the field, knowing that we can use the high school field, it won't cost us anything, just like it's always been.
Once again, Chris,
We're not gonna spend
what-
what
It
George
is tax.
once,
thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money.
once again, you play on a pristine field. We want to keep it that way. We don't want to cross over, because, well, you gave it to him. Right, so you mentioned that, you said, hey, away games, say, hey, we'll come to Bristol because it's like, we want to keep it that way. Because do you play on a pristine field that looks really good, doesn't it? We want to keep it that way.
Right, but we're talking about, we can figure out a way to save money for you guys, and we wouldn't have to pay anything.
I just think that
Well, I'm just saying rough numbers, so if you took the Amtrak area, and if you looked at it, and say it was, if you're paying $100,000 to do this hydro seeding, now you take that area out of the equation, so now you're paying $75,000.
It's not $100,000.
it's
$3,000
$3,000 to do everything.
I'm only going by what George Gallo had quoted me in the meeting,
Well-
and he said thousands and thousands of dollars.
Well, he said thousands of dollars.
Yeah, remember the gentleman gave us an idea of $3,000 for everything.
I don't know anybody gave, like I said, I asked a dozen times and nobody.
And we're not doing the whole Amtrak, property, just a
There's,
portion of it.
we have to be careful, Chris, because there's wetlands back there. And someday I'll talk to you about those wetlands.
I know, because we learned about it in school.
Yeah, well, they have to be protected. What's that?
Are the kids gonna be able to play flag football this season?
Ask him.
I'm asking the question. Can they play flag football?
Not on that field. You see, you're not listening either. They just told us we couldn't use that field.
Exactly, so what I'm asking, where can we play flag
Just
football?
relax about it, okay?
I'm asking, where can we play?
You know, really,
That's a legitimate question, though.
it's a simple fix.
I'm just asking, where can we play?
That's something that we have to figure out as a group ourselves.
We don't have it.
But I mean,
You make it. We don't have it at the spot.
Question that they had answered.
Yes.
And but you keep still going back to it. Because just drop it.
You can apply at the
that's
Borough
why I
Hall.
came here. I wanna know if
To
my
go-
kids can play flag football this season.
Go apply
That's
for
why I came
Otter
here,
Street.
that's all.
Go
So we don't
apply.
have a field, right?
Yo, can I answer?
Yeah, I'm listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Try Otter Street. You know, and see if the borough will allow you to use Otter Street for your games.
So that, and we have to go to the.
What? I didn't even hear you,
We have to go
Chris.
to the council because that's what they say.
Chris,
right? Because
what is the,
council said that,
Just so you understand, Mike, you can explain it best because you understand. If we want to use a borough field, we have to turn over our organization to their control.
No, I don't think that's what
My
they
under-
said. That's not what
My
they said.
understanding is you don't have to turn over your organization. You would keep, no, you would,
Greg Peasant, watch the meeting.
No.
I'm gonna tell you my understanding. So, Chris, are you asking for my understanding or are you asking for what you heard? What are you asking for? You want what I know, or do you want what you heard on the council
No,
meeting?
I'm just going by what we were told.
I'm just asking you what you want. Do you want what I know? All you would have to do,
Going by what we were told. Go ahead.
okay. So as the recreation director, what I was told is all you would do, just what I do at Little League, you would be an open book in regards to certifications,
Right.
your budget. Nobody's touching your fundraising. As a recreation director, I'm not gonna micromanage you. I'm gonna make sure the requirements are there. If you say you have this NFL concussion, all this other stuff, you have all these things, nobody is taking your money. They're actually willing to donate money from council to you if you provide your financials, expenses. I know football's expensive.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold it.
That was my understanding. You're cutting me off.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Just answer the question.
I just answered the
We're
question.
talking about flag football for this year.
That's not what he asked.
No, he's not. He has.
That's
You're
what
cutting
he's
me off.
asking.
You're
No, he's
yelling
not.
at Chick D'Angelo for
Isn't
cutting
that
you off.
what
You're
you
cutting
asked?
me off.
Okay, hold on.
That's what he asked.
No, he wasn't
Okay.
asking that. He was asking about.
One thing at a
So
time.
for flag football, then he has to apply for the field. That's it. That's what I know. So if you're asking for flag football, he has to apply.
Okay, we've gone over that. The field is not in use now. Carl.
I just have a little question. I'm just curious. Did things change? Because I remember I remember the track and field team during the spring going over to your football field and working out on it. So did anything like change like that? Now they just stay on
once the field is hydro-seeded, there'll be signs restricting that area. But right now, it was only seeded and aerated, but once it's hydro-seeded, signs are ordered and it'll be marked off. So everyone will stay off of it, our people too.
Okay,
Now, question for you.
thank you.
How long until you could be on that field? After that?
Once again, is whatever the gentleman, they're going to guarantee grass to grow there. So if he says to us, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, we have to honor that because he's guaranteeing that. So we will stay off of the field too,
So,
us.
it's 6 to 7 weeks
Get up.
until you can play on that field. Now, another thing, you had somebody out there leveling that field, okay? You had somebody out there last year leveling that field. Now, I would like each and every one of you to go out there tomorrow and look at that field and tell me if it's level. Because that field had grass. Only inside one spot it didn't have grass. Now, your guy went out there and messed that entire field up and it's filled with water, which it never did.
Now it's a pool, now it's a pool.
Now it's filled with water.
They're
So if
gonna-
you were
they're
there
gonna
to
plant
level that land, you would bring out triaxles of dirt, you would bring a dozer with your satellites, and you would level the land. All you did was mess up that field.
We-
So go out there and look at it before you want it to go grass.
It was a school board employee messing with 175 kids. 175 of them were messing with.
We had dirt poured on there, and then we had somebody level it, and it's, wait, wait.
You had one little stop. You had one chalkboard on that field, and one piece of dirt where it was already dirt. Now go out there and look at the field to the right where we practiced. If you were there last week, it was all grass. If you go there now, it's dirt, because he scraped it with his backhoe. Wrong equipment for that, buddy. I do this for a living. Your guy put divots in the field and it's filled with water. So hire a company that knows what they're doing and level the field and then get it hydro seeded, so it's a safe field. Understand?
No, I got you.
So go look at it.
But was it done by, was the company, I'm sorry, what's it called? McMillan, whoever who?
No, McBrick is a corporation
Well, they're the
that,
one came out and used the machines and everything.
no, that was our employee that used Borough. We share equipment with the Borough, but we had to rent the leveler.
Right.
But we share equipment, that we use their backhoe, they use our field, whatever, they use our electrician, we borrow chairs, they use our buses, it helps,
Right, right.
yeah.
You work together, I get it.
I mean, it's not done yet either. I mean, you know.
Let me make a suggestion,
Sure.
okay?
I mean, that's what we came for, was.
Right, so-
I mean, so we can work it out.
We worked something out tonight, let me make a suggestion.
I'm not sure we worked out.
Well, we agreed that we're gonna hydro seed that field and to stay off, okay? So then we said, you'll come back in July.
You're gonna hydro seed, and we said we understand that.
That's right, so then you will come back in July and you'll submit paperwork and we'll look through all of that and you decide what you wanna do.
Well, you mean we'll come back in July to worry about tackle? We're talking-
Yeah, that's down the road.
discussing flag-
Yeah, flag, we're hydro seeding everything,
Right,
so,
we understand. You're hydro seeding the field that we practice our flag.
the whole field.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so now,
Area owned by Amtrak.
some of that area, yes. Now,
So
what,
you're not hydro seeding the whole area owned by Amtrak?
most of it,
Right, well, most of it, well, I understand what you're saying. You're hydro seeding an area that you don't own.
just like you're playing on an area that you don't own. We play on an area.
Hold on. We do own it for taxpayers. We pay for that field, right? We're paying for that field to be hydro seeded. We're paying for Amtrak field to be hydro seeded.
No, we don't. No, we're not paying for it. I'm trying to understand. You
Well,
said-
that's school district land.
Right.
That's subject to laws, that if the district says,
Taxpayers that pay for it.
Chris,
I'm just
Ex-
trying to understand.
But the district also maintains it by cutting the grass,
Maintain
so
it.
they've assumed responsibility, so that does give them a little more obligation, for lack of a better term.
right, and we read you the law that says if we are gonna donate use of facilities or land or whatever, that then it falls into certain requirements that we can't, and this is what I'm saying. Look, even the fees that we may charge you, they're not gonna be absorbing the fees. Now, just let me ask you, you had I would say they would be less than $2,000. So if you've got a petition that 800 people sign, that's $3 apiece. Or, like I said, solicit the money. You can,
So
if you
ask
have to
taxpayers
pay,
twice.
what's that?
So ask the taxpayers to pay.
No, you're not asking taxpayers. You're asking only the people who want to donate to you. I mean, Chris, come on. I mean, this is what but you're talking, like, we're trying to help you, and you're trying to figure out how we're trying to get over on you. Do you understand this? We're on a board. The school district owns land. There's laws that we just read to you.
And you asked us to stay off that land, and we said, we're not on your land.
Right, but my point is, what you're saying is, you're trying to figure out how we're not gonna charge you. Listen, at the end of the day, no matter which fields you
We're
use,
saving you more money than you're gonna.
no matter which fields you use, right, you're gonna have to pay a fee determined by your usage, your thing, and that's all I'm saying is, and we can't say, oh, no, we're waiving it as board members. We were wrong. We were wrong. And let me tell you something, wait a minute, we did it for 8 years, and you kept adding, you went from one team, did you come to us and say, I'm adding another team?
I didn't know I had to.
Okay, but my point is that my fault? Look, it's just like you didn't come and say, I'm gonna need that field on April 1st. You didn't do it. We planned to do things. We didn't know that you had no request. We planned to do our maintenance for our kids, for our taxpayers. When else do you see the field?
In December.
When else do you see the field?
No, it wasn't seeded, it was,
Go ahead.
No, but I'm saying you planted, so you didn't just go.
no, we didn't plant. We aerated,
Good,
but
then.
we started that field in December and we continued. Listen, we've had a good discussion so far.
What's your name?
We agreed that you're gonna stay off that land, we're hydroseeding everything, period.
We agree, absolutely, we will stay off your.
No, we're
Okay, so
hydroseeding
you're gonna play on
everything.
Amtrak's land?
We will absolutely stay off of.
He's saying he's gonna play back there.
If you, no, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
We're hydroseeding everything, Amtrak's land and our land.
How many times do I have to tell you, I understand what you're saying.
So you're not going on any of that property.
I'm not going on your school property at all.
Okay, then you do what you have to do. That's all I'm gonna tell you. But we're hydroseeding everything, so if you're going on Amtrak land.
Let's go, young man.
And that's hydroseeded, you're going on their land and you're tearing it up, and then that's the land that we both use. So then you do what you have to do, then we'll do what we have to.
I just find it ironic how it's made a rule that you need a permit to play on, and then all of a sudden, we need to hydroseed a field. I feel like we're just being stonewalled here. We have to join the board, as in everybody on the board, to get a field. And it just bothers me how I feel like you're messing with all these kids.
We're hydroseeding a field, son, listen to me, look, we have the right to maintenance our fields, we do them every year. We have an obligation, that we wore down Amtrak land, we're gonna hydroseed it back.
Every year? What do you do every year is what I'm just trying to understand.
Aerate and seed.
You're killing
Aerate and seed.
And not as per talking to George Gatto all these years.
You guys didn't even know
He
we were
has
having a
never
flag
once
football
said to me
season.
that
Right,
we do that.
you're right.
We let him know that we see it.
And we go over it, and we aerate.
Come on,
Again, all the time we.
come on up.
All the time.
Chris, we do it every year.
Chris,
come on, Chris, we do it every year.
No hocus pocus.
We do it every year.
Yearly,
It's all-
yearly
Enough
maintenance.
hocus pocus.
This is,
We never knew, nobody ever told us.
well,
No, we
because
had
it,
to tell you.
Could have saved a lot of money.
have to tell them?
I didn't know we had to tell you that we were aerating the field.
Right. We don't need to.
I listened, same as
Explain
I
nothing
didn't
to
know,
you.
we had to fill out some kind of request from the
A usage form, you always
And
have
you
to.
do.
It's lack of communication.
I mean, it's not us picking on you particular. Anybody who uses school district property has to do that. And for some, ask for permission.
A usage
That's all.
Starting this year.
No, it's
No.
been started forever.
No,
It's a policy that's
no.
been on the books forever.
Right, so then you just, so the last 5 years, like football, it wasn't a big deal, but this year it is. I'm only trying to understand.
Well, wait a minute, what do you say that wasn't a big deal? It's a big deal because you went on Facebook and said we're trying to destroy your organization.
You're sitting here saying every year, and I'm really just trying to understand.
Right.
Well, Chris, you got two different sports here. You got two different sports.
The year before that.
Hey, Chris, and listen, here's where you're going out, here's where you're getting out of your lane, right? We don't need your permission to do what we want to do. We didn't do it to try to hurt you. We decided, look, here's the time that we're going to aerate the field. But now you're playing this game where, oh, you didn't do it before. Dude, lots of things change, right? And we're admitting that we really should have charged you. We should have charged you, but we didn't. rather than be thankful for that and try to work with us. Now you're saying, well, you didn't do it before, so you can't do it now. And sadly, that's wrong. We're trying to get everything right. Nobody's picking on your group. We're trying to help you. And my point is, I would suggest here's the question I wanted to ask you. What's the scope of your flag football? Like, do you play games Tuesday nights or what? You know what I mean? Like, what is the time frame?
We play games on Saturday.
Play games on Saturday and you practice during the week, right?
Every team practices when they want, 1 to 2 days a week.
Okay, so here's my point. And how long is that going to last? Like 3 weeks, 6 weeks?
8 weeks.
8 weeks. So you're talking about the
Put your
middle
hand
of
down.
July.
I'll recognize you, okay?
We run out of flag and
Yeah.
jump into tackle. We came here tonight to find out if we can use the high school football field for our tackle football home games. And if we can use the practice field for our tackle when it's done being high.
Yes, dude, nobody ever said this, sir. Nobody ever said that.
We appreciate your time.
But my question for you, Chris, is I would say, see what you need and what feels you can get from the Otter Street.
And play our games the same as we always did.
When that time of the year comes, you're going to submit to us a schedule, you're going to provide us with all
Right,
the
so you're
papers.
not giving us an answer, yes or no?
No.
He's saying yes, and you're saying,
No, I'm saying you're going to submit to us everything like you do every year.
right.
Okay? When
They
you
have no
submit
reason
to us,
deny us. There's no reason to deny us. We have our insurance, we have everything that we need. They can't deny us. There's no reason for it. So we'll be back when it's tackle football
Right,
season.
I mean,
We appreciate your time.
thank
Thank you.
you,
We'll
thank
see
you.
next time.
wait, I promised this young guy right here. Come on,
Come
buddy,
on.
go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a question.
Come on.
How do you feel about people walking their dogs on the field?
They shouldn't be.
They should, that's a,
Are they cleaning up after them?
oh, okay.
Well, then guess what?
That's all us, we do that.
Okay, so maybe,
Dude, let's talk to the,
That's why we have to have a custodian.
let's, do
You're
we have
right.
signs up there?
That's what the custodian.
curb your dog. Thanks for, we'll have a sign up. That's right, you guys got a planner, we got a planner. We'll put some signs up. Thank you for that.
Those dogs pooping never hurt anybody.
Thank you.
Hold on, Chris. I think the confusion is, and I'll apologize to you, 8, 9 years ago, when they opened this up to you, no one actually monitored anything. During our executive session, I asked, what's the insurance? How liable is the school? I just went into certain things. And I think it got away where you were able to run your program without anyone interference until this hiccup. Oh, I'm sorry, Anthony Smith. Well, no. 25 years.
8 years ago or 9 years ago?
No. And that's what I'm saying, that when they did this, nobody actually did any research, they were being nice.
No, he did submit his usage form.
Yes.
He did submit his usage form over here.
Did not do their research.
No, you're not listening.
Chris, we're not saying we didn't do it. You submitted your usage form and we said we were fine with it. I don't understand.
Okay.
Right, that's exactly.
Let's just leave it at that for now, and we understand, we're hydro seeding everything. We have a young lady that,
Absolutely, I
go
absolutely
ahead.
understand your question. And it will be good for the field. Thank you.
Thank you, you guys have a good night.
Good night. Thank you, it was a good meeting.
We got one more, yes?
Oh, okay, he just has an announcement.
Just sorry, real briefly. No, don't go anywhere. It's
Don't
just
go
gonna be
anywhere.
short. There were 2 executive sessions after report on one last Thursday, the 31st. All board members were present from 6 to 7:30, meeting with the IU representatives about personnel matters. Tonight, there was an executive session from 6 to 6:50. All board members were present, along with many members of administration and myself. Personnel items, informational items, and litigation items were discussed at the executive session. Those are my reports.
Thank you, Mr. Trullo. Go ahead.
Hello, I wrote some notes ahead of time, and the evening has kind of shifted tone a little bit, so my apologies, they're not quite the way I wanted them to line up. In my work, I spend a lot of time thinking about leadership. How do we lead an organization? How do we cultivate future leaders? How do leaders create a unified vision and in turn share that vision with the organization as a whole? What makes a leader successful? As many of us have experienced in our professional and personal lives, those answers are frequently open to discussion and reevaluation. As our knowledge and our self-awareness grows, our ideas of effective leadership shift. Since October, Dr. Schaefer has stepped in as our interim superintendent. He has spent hours overseeing our district's operations. He has kept us going, stepping away from his retirement to ensure we did not fail our students and in turn our community. I have tremendous gratitude for the personal sacrifices he has made and continues to make for Bristol Borough Schools. As a community, we have not heard much about the superintendent search, but over the weekend we learned from local news outlets that Dr. Davis will soon be doing the same for our community. I have the utmost respect for Dr. Davis and faith in his ability to be successful in an interim role. I first met Dr. Davis in 1996 while he was an assistant principal at Maple Point Middle School. It did not take long for the students to realize that Dr. Davis was stern, fair, and completely invested in our success. My respect for him has only grown over the years, and as a parent, I am very excited to have an interim superintendent with experience in learning support environments. Both of our interim superintendents are well qualified, well-respected professionals who also possess a special quality that we need from our educational leaders, a deep love for our students and for this community. Without a doubt, the interim superintendent is a critical role, but they are limited to what they can implement and cultivate during such a limited time. Leadership is critical in any organization, but particularly in a school district with so many functions and needs. Our schools need a great leader who is an educational visionary and who can provide a unified vision for our students and for our educators. Our students need a great leader. Going forward, the Bristol Borough community needs increased transparency surrounding the hiring process for this critical role for our continued success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
morning.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else from the public? Okay, that closes public participation. Our next board meeting is, let me find my April the 21st.
Do you have anything to say?
Let's go around the horn. Mr. Smith?
Good.
Good. Ms. Karen?
I'm good. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Collins?
Oh, I do have a few things to say, maybe right or wrong, but I'm going to say them. I take offense when they come up and they say, for the kids, for the kids. We have 9 school board members sitting here, a great administration. What are we here for? We are here for the kids, to do the right thing for the kids. And I'm looking down the board now. There's Jeff down there, Chick D'Angelo, Pops, Al, all us guys. We work with kids all our life, recreations and stuff like that. So we've always been invested in these kids, and that's how I feel about it. For them, to scream and holler at us like we don't care about the kids. I take that personally. So I just want to say, hey, we're all here for the kids, and we all know we have great administration, and I'm just happy to sit on this board. Thank you.
Mr. Parola?
Yeah, I got to agree with Steve. I think Chris owed us an apology, and I didn't get it. He says we're out to get him, and we didn't. So,
We proved
to
it
me,
here
it was
tonight.
nothing. What?
We proved it here tonight that we weren't out to get him.
You
so.
can't make an accusation and then not
Yes, you can.
own it.
Yes, you can, because who believes it?
Well,
That's what it's all about.
So, that's about all. I want to congratulate George.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Parola, welcome back, and is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
I'm feeling better. Mr. Poplawski?
I think just to try to take an attack at the recreation program, just to make your program look better, is uncalled for.
Yeah.
I think that, you're never going to satisfy everybody. I feel like we had about 164 out of the 165 parents that were very pleased with what we were doing. I think it's 2 different entities. You're doing something competitive, you're doing other things for social interaction and skill development, that hopefully leads into that. So, hopefully, we continue to grow as a recreation program and just help, trying to do almost the same thing they're doing, but, no, that's it for me. Thank you.
Mr. Poliafco?
No, I'm just a little disgusted on the way things go here. I mean, people talking over one another. It's ridiculous. You try to move it along, you got to, we just got to hit that gavel a little more, and, you know, people talk in turn, and I'm probably just as guilty, but I mean, let's get to the point. They're here for one reason tonight, and that was it. You know,
Well,
going back and all that.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm good. I'm good.
I think we got to the bottom of things. We got some issues out. Mrs. Paglione?
I just want to reiterate a few things, that no one here said we are denying the use of the fields because they are under maintenance and they are getting hydro-seeded. So no one here ever said that we denied them use of it. On a happy note, I attended the National Honor Society induction dinner last night, and I am very proud of our administration, our staff, and our students for their outstanding achievements. Some of our students already have 25 college credits. That's almost a semester and a half. So that to me is outstanding. And in all the years I have been on the school board, this has been one of the largest number of students to be inducted in the National Honor Society, and I'm proud to say I am from Bristol Borough. That's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Paglione. Dr. Schaefer?
All I want to say is, Dory, thank you for your support, and the board, thank you for all of your support as well.
Mr.
I do
Angelo?
appreciate it.
Dory, and just so you know, I mean, as far as superintendents, we've been really fortunate. We had Dr. Davis, we had Todd, we had Dr. Minetti, and it is one of the hardest things to do, is to find. It's easy to say, you laid out every one of the bullet points, right? But finding that person is a hard thing. And I will just tell you, Mr. Ciccoletti, you're gonna have, when we start up the search again, we will have a community survey, community involvement, and we'll probably spend September or maybe October, November, parts of December, really getting the community involved, helping us out to come up with the parameters and try to find a candidate. So thank you for your comments, and I know Dr. Davis will be glad to hear that someone said something nice about him. But my other point would be, I just wanted to bring to light again that the student art gallery, we had a student, her name was Brianna Polinario, did a beautiful thing. I put it on my Facebook. It was everyone, kids from all ages at the very best of Bucks County from every school district. And I can tell you, people were standing around her painting, and really, as they went through, it had the biggest crowd of people in front of it. So we want to give her a congratulations for representing. And of course, Mrs. Scavello, her art teacher, was there as well. And Bucks County has got a great history of art. Many people don't know this, but in the late 1800s and early 1900s, many of the Impressionist painters in France, they found out about this beautiful bucolic place called Bucks County. And so if you ever get a chance to go to the IU headquarters, there are probably 25 or 30 paintings, and they called them the Impressionists of Bucks County, and they're all on display. So please, if you get a chance, go there. And just to my colleagues on the board, it was kind of great, and I know it could be upsetting, but it was really, you juxtaposed everything greatly, because you're right. Organizations do need to have great leaders. They do need to have people that are honest and that work hard and that don't play all kind of games. And we were lucky to have it, and I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot of organizations that are led by people who don't possess those skills, who just kind of want to pat themselves on the back and be critical of other people for really no valid reason. Like you said, Jeff, we weren't here to talk about our recreation program. We were here to talk about trying to help these guys and the misinformation they got. And if you go through life waiting for people to tell you something rather than ask permission, you got a lot of problems. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, Mr. Trullo?
Again, just thank you to the board for your vote of confidence for our firm tonight. We really enjoy working with everybody, and especially the administration, Dr. Schaefer, Mr. Rosado, Mr. Nastasi, Mr. McHugh, Ms. Moyer. It's a terrific team. You do a great job for the community, for the residents here, and for the, especially as everybody says, for the kids. And being the son of former educators, I have a lot of respect for everybody here, and I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You include me?
Absolutely, absolutely. The whole board. I said the board. You're the leader of the board.
Okay, so anyway, just a quick comment here. I congratulate George on his retirement and for all the hard work he's done over 38 years. In the last couple of weeks, the calendar that you might be able to see above you here was prepared by me, Mr. Gatto, and Mr. McHugh, because they were the ones that were under attack, that, you know, there was something wrong, and it clearly shows that the field was being maintenanced, okay? So I take it personal when the board is attacked, and I felt it necessary to prepare this calendar so that a timeline could be showed and that no one's going to tell us the land that we own when we're going to do things. It's our responsibility to maintain the land. My only hope that tonight that the issue was resolved and that Mr. Chapman understands that, you know, we're hydroseeding everything and you know, to stay off of that field, and signs will be posted. And, you know, I hope that it works out. And, you know, I wanted to say to him that, you know, he answered the borough no when they asked to go under, but he really needs to have a conversation with the borough and sit down and talk it out and say, what are my pros, what are my cons, not just no. And I know he's not here to defend himself, but I would strongly recommend that sit down and at least talk with them like we talked tonight. So at that time, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion. Second.
Second?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.